Good morning, District 1. All right, there we go. Give us a little energy. It's early in the morning. It's hot outside. That's a good thing because it could be cold. This is Michigan, right? So no complaints, no complaints. We have a jam-packed agenda today, so we're going to just get right into it. Today is, we have a moderate air quality index today, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on. We've had some real challenges when it comes to our air quality as a result of the Canadian wildfires. So we'll talk a little bit about how you can get some information and what these air quality index numbers mean. Again, just a little bit later in the agenda. Before we go forward, how many of you have been to this church before? Anybody? Raise your hand. All right. So this is what we love to do. We love to introduce the community to spaces in the district that you're not familiar with, because at the end of the day, this is all our community. Whether you live in a neighborhood 3 blocks away or you live in a neighborhood 3 miles away, we're still in the same community. And every individual's success is our success. And we've got to keep that in mind. Every entity, every business success, every church success is our success as well. So without further ado, I would like to bring forward Elder Roberts. Y'all give him a D1 round of applause. He will give us a few words of welcome on behalf of Ebenezer Church.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Great Ebenezer Ministries. And we thank God. I've been knowing Brother Tate, I don't sound on council, I said Brother Tate for a few years, and I hated when COVID hit and everything went to Zoom and whatnot. And I told him 2 years ago, I saw him downstairs, I can't wait till we go back live. So thank God we are back live and we can get back excited in the community and get things rolling on the outside and get things like it was before that. And I'm a part of the Wayne County Democratic Black Caucus Board, and guys come before us to be screened for candidacy, and all of them, I tell them D1 is take country. It's all our country, but this is take country. It's take country. It's all our country, but it's take country. Without further ado, in God's house, I always have to give credence unto the Almighty. He is the making creator of our vast, expanding universe. And that's my line of work right there, to represent him. So I would say a quick little prayer and we'll go forward. Father in heaven, thank you for a beautiful day, beautiful occasion. Bless this occasion. Bless each participant. Bless the leader here. Continue to endow him with wisdom and knowledge and strength and energy to go forth. And each one of us to continue to have a community mindset and to grow our community in sweet harmony. In the name of Jesus, we pray, amen.
Thank you, brother. Elder, if folks are unchurched and want to come join you to worship, can you want to talk about that?
Oh, yeah, of course. We here at Great Ebenezer, we got a lot of vast ministries. One of our ministries is known mostly for the music. I don't know if you heard of Bishop William Murphy III. He's one of our kids grew up here, and his father is the bishop here, and he's in and out, and that's pretty much what we're known for mostly. But we got education, activity, we got all kind of stuff. I'm an organizer, and we organize the Grand River Bike Ride Roll and community in the park and all kind of different things. And I like if you don't have a church home, thank you, Brother Tate. If you don't have a church home, come visit us. Or if you just want to seek Christ right now, catch me over there somewhere, and we can do that. But we are a family here, and you're invited to come visit. Just when you come through the door, the lady at the back door, she's a greeter. She'll be downstairs every Sunday greeting too. So you're invited, and come on and join us and everything, and we'll be glad to have you. Take care. Thank you, Brother Tate.
Roberts, thank you so much. Y'all give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up. Look, we don't have a budget. I always say this, we don't have a budget. We've been doing this meeting every 4th Saturday of the month, minus that time during COVID, those 2 years. But we've been doing it live for sure for 13 years now. And so we move around the district. Yeah, that's a good thing. And it doesn't make sense for us to do it if you don't show up. So we appreciate it. That's why the partnership, that's what this is. But we really appreciate these locations that allow us to grace their spaces because they don't have to do so. And they do so based on the concept of being a part of the community. We say it all the time that these entities are not them and us. We're all in this together. And so again, thank you again, Elder, for allowing us to, for you sharing this space. Today, we got a lot of heavy hitters in the room. We've got also a heavy hitter that we are laying to rest today, and I want to give my personal condolences. I would be there today. We have my former colleague, Joanne Watson. We served together for a number of years. I would be there today if I was not here. This is our last meeting until the after the summer recess. So she meant a lot to a lot of people, and I just really appreciate my time. My first term on the council, I had an opportunity to serve with her, and I sat, and I remember as on the Neighborhood and Community Services Standing Committee, and I had both Joanne Watson and Kwame Kenyatta as my two members there. And one thing that I learned very early, especially when you're dealing with those two, and especially her, come prepared. Come prepared, because that's the one thing that she always was. She was always ready, always had information. And I have never, still to this day, 13 years later, never worked with anybody who was able to capture information as she had and deliver it in a way that you could understand it. And she was a fighter for the community, and we are definitely going to miss her. Most recently, she had served on the reparations task force, but she had been talking about reparations in the city of Detroit even prior to anybody really raising this issue on a loud level. And so again, we just want to pay homage and tribute to a great woman, Miss Joanne Watson. Yeah. All right, as I mentioned, we do have some heavy hitters today, and we're going to start off with a heavy hitter that some of you may not know his name, but his role and his position is extremely important in the city of Detroit. And that's none other than the Deputy CFO, Tax Assessor, Mr. Alvin Horhn. Sir, can you please join us if you don't mind? Some of you remember last year, early this year, there was an issue with winter taxes. Some of you, and ironically, it was just in District 1 that we were able to find. Some folks did not receive their winter taxes. And what ended up happening was there was fines and fees that were attached to it if you did not pay those winter taxes on time. We indicated in this office we were going to do everything we can to find out what happened. But we don't have all those tools that Mr. Horhn has. But what he did was he conducted an investigation and found out what we believe was the issue, and we're going to do what we can to ensure that that does not happen again, because it's that time of year again, ladies and gentlemen. Summer taxes are coming up. August 15th is when they're due. So again, without further ado, I would like for Mr. Alvin Horhn to give you an understanding of what happened last time, what we're doing to make sure it doesn't happen this time, but then also give you some information on the dates, because again, it's extremely important and it's coming, knocking on the door. Ladies and gentlemen, Alvin Horhn.
Thank you, Pro Tem Tate. Good morning, everyone. So last year, Pro Tem Tate and his staff notified both myself and the city treasurer that there were neighborhoods, there were blocks in District 1 where residents were reporting that they did not receive their summer tax bill. So a couple of things happened. First thing we did is we checked to make sure we actually mailed the tax bills. So this isn't something we actually tell people, but we actually mark every single assessment notice and every tax bill that goes out of the city. We actually use a service so we can keep track of it and we can assure that those bills are actually mailed. And then we have a service that collects off the return mail, and they mark the return mail. The post office, when they return mail, they actually put a code on it. And that code will tell us the reason why that mail was returned. So when Councilman Tate's staff notified us of this problem, the first thing we did is we went to our mail vendor and we had them verify that the mail in District 1 actually went out. We got the addresses that Councilman Tate's staff, that the Detroit Taxpayer Service Center, and that the calls into the treasurer's office from people who were saying, we didn't get our bills. So we were able to track that to a handful of neighborhoods. And it wasn't a coincidence. It was all District 1. No one else was making these reports. These were areas where, in the past when we've talked to the post office, they've always told us unofficially that the carriers have some discretion. If they don't feel safe going to a house, they have the discretion not to go there. That's not something they actually advertise, but it's true. So the first thing we did is we sent appraisers over there. See, well, what's going on in these neighborhoods? Well, these are not neighborhoods you wouldn't go to. These were some of the better neighborhoods in this district. So that wasn't the case. The vendors confirmed that the mail went out. They checked the return mail. Some of it was marked as return. Unfortunately, they put a very generic undeliverable code on there, and that could mean almost anything. So we reached out to the postal inspector for this area, and we had a couple of conversations with them. They promised that they would speak to the carriers to see was there some reason you guys didn't deliver the mail. We double-checked all of our records, all of our processes to make sure that we could ensure that the mail went out to Councilman Tate and other members of council and to the CFO. So we went through all of those processes. Unfortunately, there's some noise that the mail hasn't been delivered again. Summer tax bills were mailed about 3 weeks ago. And we've heard from some of the same neighborhoods that they have not received those bills. So we've gone through the same process. The treasurer is trying to arrange a meeting again with the postal inspector, along with the manager. There's actually a service area in this area. There's a manager, a postal supervisor, who's responsible for the carriers in this area. So we're trying to meet with that person, and we're going to take all the evidence that we have. It's not just tax bills that get mailed out. We haven't heard this problem with any other mail that goes out, specifically with the assessment notices. That's important because the assessor and the treasurer use the same mailing address. If you got your assessment notice, you should have gotten your tax bill because they go to the same address. They come from the same system. The fact that the notices went through, the tax bills didn't, kind of tells us something is going on at a different level. Certainly no one wants to point a finger at a postal inspector or a postal carrier, but when you've eliminated everything else, then what's left is what happened. The mail went out. These are nice neighborhoods. There's no reason why it shouldn't have been delivered. Everything else that says delivering is getting mailed. So what's left is, why aren't you guys delivering the mail? So we're gonna arrange to have those meetings with the supervisors for this area and someone from the postal inspector service. So that's where we're at. I know behind me there's some dates on here, but I also just want to remind everybody, you don't need the tax bill to pay your taxes. You can go online, you can go to a kiosk. If you type in your address or your tax ID number, your parcel number, it will tell you what you owe. So you can go online and pay the tax bill. You can go to a kiosk and pay the tax bill. Unfortunately, since COVID, the city doesn't have cashiers downtown anymore. So you can't come into Coleman A. Young. You can't come into KMAC and pay the bill. Everything is online or through a kiosk at this point. So there's a PowerPoint display up. It's got the dates. If you're going to pay the first half of your summer bill, it's due by August 15th. If you're going to pay the entire summer bill, it's due by August 31st. If you don't pay any portion of your summer bill, it will be rolled over to your winter bill with interest and penalty. That is due on January 15th. If you do not pay your tax bill to the city of Detroit by February 28th, on March 1st, we can't collect it anymore. It belongs to the county treasurer. It is now delinquent. It will be sent to the county. The county will add their own fees and interest on there. And what might have been a $1,200 tax bill will suddenly become a $2,200 tax bill. So do not let your tax bill roll over to the county. They have their own collection activities. They have their own interest. They have their own fees that they're going to add to the bill. Yes, ma'am.
So we're going to give. Are you finished with your presentation? We're going to give you an opportunity for questions. I promise you. So, Mr. Horn, are you finished with the presentation?
Yes, sir. All
right, we're going to give you this mic. And the reason we do this is because we do. Oh, we got a second one. All right, look at that. No, you can take this one.
I take that one.
Yep. One, two.
There it is.
on now. The reason why we do this is because we are being recorded and we're being televised, and we are a hybrid meeting. We're making sure that folks who are at home who may not be able to be here still have an opportunity to gain this very valuable information. So sounds like you have a great question. Ms. Shakur.
Hi, this is Olivia Shakur, Curry St. Mary's president. I went and paid my bill at Northwest Activity Center at the kiosk. I didn't receive a receipt. So I didn't know whether it was, if it went through or not. And when I tried to call, I wasn't able to get any information. And I don't want to pay my taxes twice.
Understood. Before I leave, I'll get your contact information, and I will find out Monday morning if the system recorded the payment, and I will either email you or put one in the mail, and I'll contact you and let you know. So before I walk out here, I'll get your contact information.
All right, Mr. Horn, we got one over here.
Good morning, Councilman Tate. Good morning. I want to make a suggestion. When you use the kiosk to pay your bill, it's always a good idea to put in your email for your receipt. Because sometimes the receipts that come off of the kiosk fade away after a while. So, but when you get the email with your bill paid on it, that's a record that you can keep.
Great advice, and that is true. The kiosk has kind of like a rotate. It's kind of like if you have a camera in your house and you have one of those memory sticks in there, and it kind of rolls over itself after 24 hours or 48 hours. Kiosk kind of works the same way. They download it, and then they start all over again.
Oh, got one more.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Jones. I'm coming from Detroit Public Schools Community District, but this question is in regards to property taxes. So I'm a new homeowner. How can you find out what's the average new homeowner? How can you find out what's the average property tax for your home? Because when I just received my property tax, I was like, oh my God, and I just set it to the side, looked at the dates and said, okay, I can't deal with this right now.
You can ask the assessor's office, but I know exactly what happened to you because it happens to everybody in the state. Michigan has what's called, and it goes back to Prop A, uncapping. What people tend to do when they're getting ready to buy a house is they ask the guy who they're buying the house from, what did you pay in taxes? You won't pay what he paid in taxes. When you buy that house, the taxable value will uncap to whatever the assessed value is. And then you will get a tax bill that's nothing like the prior tax bill. I'll get your contact information. This is what I tell everyone who buys a house in Detroit. Appeal the value. Appeal the value. A lot of people think that's just words. We're not going to do anything. Appeal the value. The average age of a house in Detroit is 91 years old. They're old. Most of them are in decent shape, but they're old. In this market, you're probably paying market price, which might mean, without being mean about it, you probably overpaid for the house. So there might be a way for us to look at the value. We'll send an appraiser there. They'll look at the foundation. They'll look at the roof. They'll look at the windows. They'll look at the roof joust. They'll look at everything. If it's an 80, 90, 100-year-old house, it probably needs a value reduction. Almost everyone we've looked at, we've reduced the value. So that's two people whose information I need to get before I leave today.
All right. And Mr. Horn, we got one over here.
You just mentioned before you ended your commentary that there is a stronger penalty once your taxes roll over to the county. That needs to be advertised, at least on televised, so that people who own property are made aware of it prior to, because that certainly would be a bigger impact as far as making your payments on time, and plus the penalty would be less, because a lot of times I don't think people realize how what happens when their taxes are delayed and what the impact is on them financially. So they definitely need to be made aware of it prior to, because then at least that would give them an opportunity to save and be prepared for it.
Thank you. We don't do as good a job as we should. Now, we do better every year, but we can always do better. And you're right. One of the things we should tell people is this is what's going to happen if you don't pay that tax bill by February 28th. Once it rolls over to the county, the city has no say. We can't pull it back. We can't make payment arrangements for you. We can't take interest off. It belongs to the county treasurer, and he has a different statutory obligation. He has to collect it as is. So you're right, we need to do a better job of letting people know these dates actually mean something.
Mr. Horn, let me ask you a question. I have gotten some requests for this particular flyer. I know we have it in our office, and we're going to recirculate it as well. We put it on our social media. But if folks want to go to your website, the tax assessor's website, can they get this this important document right here and share it out with their neighbors?
I will make sure it's up there Tuesday morning.
All right, thank you.
Yes, for those who have applied for the HOPE assistance.
Yes, ma'am.
And they're waiting for someone to contact them regarding that. What are they to do about their current taxes if they're waiting on assistance with past taxes? And
That's a great question. If you've applied for it's called the Homeowners Property Tax Exemption. It's a program to assist people who are having difficulties paying their property taxes. It can reduce or eliminate some part of that property tax. The application process is almost 11 months long. It's from January 15th through December 12th. Last year, we granted almost 22,000 applications. We said yes to various levels, 100% reduction to 10%. There's not a backlog, but there's about a 6-week wait between when we get the application and when the board review processes it. And then, in addition to that, the board review can only approve these things 3 times a year. The March board review, the July board review, the December board review. By state law, that's the only time they can approve them. They work all week long on going through these applications. I can check when yours was received. I can tell you what the answer would be. But technically, if they missed the July board review to address it, then they can't officially grant that exemption until the December board review goes into session. And that's we're still kind of going back and forth on that date. It's going to be somewhere in September. Detroit can't wait till December to do its stuff. We have to open these things up as early as we can. You will be the 3rd person whose contact information I'll get, and I can let you know the status of your application.
All right, we have time for 2 more. One, okay. Oh, I see 4 hands. All right, we're going to cut it off at that because we have like I say, packed agenda today.
I didn't have
I thought you had your hand earlier. I'm sorry. We have 3 now.
Why are the summer taxes so much higher than winter? Wouldn't it be better to kind of split it in half?
Yes, the city actually allows, Detroit's a handful of cities that allows you to split your summer tax bill in half. You can pay a portion of it, roughly about half of it by August 15th, and then the rest of it's not due until January 15th. But to answer the question, the reason why it's so much higher than the winter, not just the city of Detroit's millages are on there, and this is something people don't get. Detroit is really just a tax collector for other taxing authorities. We collect taxes for the Detroit Public Schools, for the Detroit Library, for the Wayne County Sheriff, Wayne County Jail, Wayne County Regional Education Authority, Wayne County Community College Districts. Of the 70 mills, the 70 millage points on the city's tax bill, only 20 of them belong to Detroit. The rest of it goes somewhere else. And those millages, by state law, go on the summer bill. So that's why the summer bill is so much higher than the winter bill. The winter bill, if you ever look at your winter bill, there's no Detroit millages on there. All of those millages belong to the county. Detroit is just the bill collector. We're the tax collector for other taxing authorities. The reason we do that is because you don't want 12 different tax bills from 12 different taxing authorities. So Detroit collects them all. But yeah, most of the tax bill does not belong to the city of Detroit. It belongs to another taxing authority.
All right, got one here.
What is the difference between property taxes versus a side lot? I know you tax both side lots and home ownership.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Your house gets taxed a different rate than land. A side lot's just a vacant lot. The average price per square foot in Detroit of land, not just vacant land, but land is less than $2 a square foot. Your house is based, and this is kind of, I don't want to take a lot of time, but your house is based on the replacement cost. What it will cost to build that house new minus the depreciation. So that's going to be a lot higher than that $2 per square foot of the land.
So, do you, okay, I just bought a side lot.
Mhm.
The person before me had prior taxes. Do I assume his taxes, or do you start fresh?
Did you buy it from the Detroit Land Bank?
Yes.
Those taxes should have been wiped out before you
Okay.
bought it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, our last question for you, Mr. Horn.
Oh, hi, good morning. My question is, am I correct in assuming that when you get your tax bill, it is just for the current taxes owed, or do you have a section where it will let you know that you have outstanding taxes owed? And could there be something on the form, if that's not the case, to alert people to check to see if prior taxes are delinquent? Because you could lose your house for prior taxes and still pay your current taxes, in my thinking.
That's very true, and that's a great question. Detroit, like every other city in the state of Michigan, can only collect the current tax bill. So when you see your city tax bill, it's only the taxes for this year. If there are prior year taxes on that property, they belong to the Wayne County Treasurer. And the county treasurer will send you a tax bill for those taxes. The city cannot add a county tax to a city tax bill. It rolls up, doesn't roll down. We roll our uncollected taxes up to the county. They don't roll them back to the city. So you're right. If the best advice I can give anyone who's concerned about a prior year tax bill, you can check the Wayne County Treasurer site for free. You type in the address, and it will tell you if there are delinquent taxes on that property. If anybody here is thinking about buying a house in Detroit, that should be the first stop you make. Check the county's website to see if there are delinquent taxes on that property. I will not tell you how many nightmares I've had to deal with over the last 10 years. People who bought houses with the best of intentions, discovering that all they bought was someone else's 3 years of delinquent taxes. 6 months after they moved to that house, the county's knocking on the door, get out. Taxes belong to the property, not the person. If you buy your house from someone who has back taxes, you bought those taxes. You will be responsible for those taxes. The county doesn't care who pays them. They just want someone to pay them. If you buy someone else's back taxes, you are responsible for them. So that's a word that we don't do a good job of advising the people of, because most of the sales in Detroit are quitclaim deeds. People don't go through a title company. They don't go through a mortgage company. It's important that people understand you've got to do the homework. Check the county website if you're thinking of buying a house in Detroit. No, land bank's a little different, because under state law, when the land bank acquires a property, they extinguish the taxes. Taxes go bye-bye.
Hold on one second. This will be our last question for sure, because what we're going to make sure, Mr. Horn is going to take himself to the side, and if you have any additional questions you may have for him, or better yet, because I do want us to be fully engaged in the meeting, because we have a number of great presentations still left. Mr. Horn, you see a Taxpayer Service Center phone number up there. For those who are not getting their question, who may still have a question today, you can definitely reach out to that phone number, 313-224-3, what's that? Oh, my eyes. Ooh, okay. My eyes. 3560.
Actually, Councilman, if you don't mind, I'm going to give him my direct number.
Even better.
So
what happens when you come to the D1 monthly meeting?
So I'm going to give you two numbers. My first is my direct office number, and there are two people who answer that phone, 313-224-3040. 313-224-3040. That is my direct number to my office, and there are two people Monday through Friday who answer that phone.
And if they don't, leave a voicemail, right?
Leave a voicemail, because
right.
Jennifer Davis and Stephanie O'Neill are very good at getting back to people within 24 hours. The other number, give you my cell phone number.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I don't give it to council members, so don't share it.
Right? That's why I'm writing it down right now myself.
313-402-7972. If I do not pick up, and I guarantee you I will not pick it up the first time, because I get 9,000 calls a day, text me, and I will call you back, promise. 313-402-7972. That's my personal cell phone number. Call me. I won't pick it up. I never pick it up because I get 9,000 calls a day. Text me.
Just to make sure it works. See how we do it? Accountability in real time, ladies and gentlemen.
So text me, and I will call you back as soon as I possibly can. So I'm going to go to my car and grab something to write with, and I'm just going to kind of go off to the side here.
Okay.
So anyone who needs me, I know there's 4 people, I promise I'm going to get your information, and I'm going to check up on some stuff. So meet me off to the side here in about 3 minutes. Thank you, Pro Tem Tate, for the invitation.
Sir, thank you so much for being here and providing that great information. You just set the bar with the cell number. Now I know what's going to be coming from here on out. Thank you so much. All right, we appreciate you. All right, so talking about a blast from the past, in our next segment, 2021 was a bit turbulent year for a lot of us. We were still in the midst of the pandemic, and then we ended up having these rainstorms, if you recall, flooding that took place in the city. And a lot of folks did not recover. City of Detroit did have an opportunity to provide some assistance to some residents within the city of Detroit, but there were some requirements that made it a little challenging for individuals to receive the assistance that they need. Here we are, 2023, years later, and there's still folks who are still suffering. You know, they lost a lot of sentimental memories, have environmental and infrastructural issues as a result of the standing water in their homes, and they're looking for some help. Well, there is some help still available, and today we're going to be joined by none other than Nancy Money. I love that name. Nancy Money, Executive Director of After the Storm, Michigan Disaster Response and Recovery, as well as Chris Hicks, Disaster Case Management Program Assistant Director for the Wayne Metropolitan Community Action Agency. You all give a warm District 1 round of applause for them being here. So, again, thank you so much for your presence and also this great information. Again, as I mentioned, there are folks years later still suffering from the effects of the storms of 2021. And it's very timely because it is that time of year again right now. So what happened in the past may not happen today, but we need to be prepared. But what kind of assistance is available for those who are still, again, trying to figure out how to pull their lives back together from those storms in 2021? If you can please provide just an introduction of what you all do and what's that pathway to assistance?
Yep. So I'll go ahead and get started. So thanks for having me and for that introduction. And I feel like I should just start out by giving out my cell phone number, and and then I'll just give you Chris's too after, and you can really call him. So as he mentioned, we have been working on this project for almost 2 years. And unfortunately, or fortunately, we've been able to help a lot of people, but there's still a lot to help and to support. What we do is through the Metro Detroit Flood Recovery Project, we are the provider on a grant, a FEMA grant that was given to the state of Michigan. This FEMA grant, again, fortunately or unfortunately, only provides the dollars for the infrastructure for case managers to come in and walk alongside folks that were affected by the flooding. So there's no direct service dollars available through this grant. What it does do, though, is enable survivors of the flood to be able to work with a case manager to help get their needs met through community resources. I don't know who's flipping the... Thanks. So just to give you a little context, I think most of you obviously probably know what happened, but when this flood happened, there was already some other underlying factors. There had already been issues prior. You all know that there's an infrastructure issue, et cetera, but this particular flooding came hard and fast and really affected basements of people in the Metro Detroit area. You can flip it, yeah. So impacts that happened, I mean, other than just people's basements being flooded, again, these are all things that you know, but there's disaster fatigue, right? So people in Metro Detroit, they're tired of it. They're done with it. It's happened over and over. Our basements have flooded. What do? We're not getting help, et cetera. We all know too that there's a lot of essential living spaces in basements in Metro Detroit with multi-generational families. So there was a lot of homes who it wasn't, I don't want to say just their basement, but living spaces for people were affected directly. And there actually were 2 fatalities in this disaster, which in the scheme of disasters, 2 is very low, but in the scheme of for those who were affected by it, it's obviously life-changing and impactful. And what we're still dealing with in this area, both particularly in D1, but also in the Metro Detroit area, are these kinds of things. So when we look at the average household size, and this is particular to D1, we're looking at about almost 3 people per household. And the needs that you can see percentage-wise, that's what we're seeing through case management is the highest needs. The other thing that we're finding is there's a high number of people with accessibility and functional needs to be met. And the biggest things that we're still seeing through case management, and we'll get into how you can access case management or access to work with somebody, is that people are still living in that mold. And we know that the mold in the basements then goes into health concerns, et cetera. So there's still a significant number of people. And the thing that's hard is that when a disaster hits, a lot of times you see all of that aftermath right after, right? So you see what was taken from the basement out by the curb. You see all of that, the things that have been affected. 2 years after, you don't see that anymore. But what we see is the people who are still living with the consequence of that disaster, who are still living in the mold in their basement, who are still living without hot water or furnaces. And so that's where we come in and we work alongside those folks to be able to help them access those community resources and their unmet needs to be able to get them back to whatever looked like pre-disaster. So what we do, and I'm going to then turn this over to Chris and let him talk about specifically how you can access some of this. But really what we do is we have folks who go out and assess the individual needs. They facilitate a recovery plan. They make referrals to resources, and they also provide emotional and spiritual care support. So it's a whole process that you go through, and we've been serving in this area, like I said, from the beginning, but it's really ramped up through this Disaster Case Management Program grant in the last year. And we have just been approved to be able to be here through July of 2024. So all of that, the folks that are still hurting or still need help, we need you guys to refer to us, and I'll let Chris kind of take over from here about what that looks like.
Can everybody hear me? Okay. So the case management process as a whole is a marathon. It's not going to be a sprint by any means. We have to take a lot of due diligence in making sure that you're taken care of, not in the aspects of just recovery of the navigating the disaster itself, but also being prepared in the aspects of the ramifications of how it affected your bills, your payouts, your water bill, gas bill, things of that nature. So we have a lot of internal resources at Wayne Metro in which we have and can get you situated with. There's a location not too far away from here on Grand River, actually, and staff are there Monday through Friday. If you need help in navigating through the disaster still, we're more than able to do that, and you can come in starting at 8:30 in the morning. We're there until 5 o'clock. It continues to be a journey for us because we also have to build your rapport and your trust. This disaster happened 2 years ago, almost 3. It's very hard for somebody to pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm trying to help you, and you not think it's a scam. So it's a ongoing building block for all of us to sit there and be able to get to a position where we can continually help the neighborhoods that we live in. I got family that still lives over here that was affected by the flood, so I know how personal all of this is for me in a lot of ways. So we actually do want to help in all the ways that we possibly can, but we need your help to do it too. The number on the flyer is the hotline number. You can give that number a call. Any of the needs that you have in regards to the flood recovery, they'll tell you who your provider is and what area. I believe it's just us. So they'll point you either to Wayne Metro or after the storm.
Mm-hmm. What is the address that you refer to on Grand River where you have this office?
Let me give you the actual one.
One thing to be aware of is it depends. So there's 3 providers working on this. So there's After the Storm, Wayne Metro, and St. Vincent de Paul. For D1, there really it's Wayne Metro covers most of the area. There's only one zip code that After the Storm will cover, and I have those. So if you want to know which area you're in, but you can call that hotline number, and we'll get you referred to the correct provider. The one other thing that I want to mention. is the grant that we are working through, like I said, is a FEMA grant. So we are only, by the parameters of the grant, allowed to provide case management for people that were affected by the flooding in June of 2021. So I know that there's been subsequent storms or subsequent flooding, but if you were not affected by that June 2021 flooding, unfortunately, that's not something that we can provide. Now, I would say go ahead and still call, because I think the thing that all three of our providers are really intentional about is making sure that then we can maybe refer you out to other resources in the community. But from a disaster case management perspective, we can't provide that unless it was June 2021 flooding.
Any more to your presentation? Because we can go into Q&A.
Nope.
All right.
I just had a question. How do you know if it was June 20? I mean, if someone has had damage and they've repaired it, and they tell you that it's from the June 2021, is there anything that they can do?
No, so that's a really good question. So if after the fact, if people have already been able to take care of their needs themselves, we can't go back and reimburse and things like that. We know that, so the average FEMA grant was only about $1,800, and we all know that that isn't enough to cover the cost of repairs post-flooding. But we cannot, through the parameters of the grant, go back and reimburse for things that people did. The other part to your question about how do we tell that it's June 2021 flooding? At the end of the day, we don't know 100%. What we do know is we know what geographic areas were affected by that flooding. So if it's somebody, a homeowner that's out of the parameters of where there was flooding in that June event, we know that it probably isn't likely. We also know that there might have been flooding in June 2021 that maybe did or didn't get taken care of, that then it happened again and again and again. And so though we just work within that, it's a gray area.
Got one over here.
How you doing? I gave a event last Friday, I think it was, with Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and State Representative Stephanie Young. And I did that event just for seniors. And the reason being, when it comes to this kind of stuff, seniors is a little bit slow on the trigger. A lot of them don't know how to navigate the internet. I'm one of them. And things like that. Is there any way seniors can kind of get a little leg up or any kind of things to where they can get a little bit more attention than the average one of us and things like that? Because I'm really concerned a lot. That's why I did that event. A lot of them are kind of left behind because we slow on the trigger a little bit.
Yeah, so that is a really good question and comment and observation. So what we have done, because we know that, and we know that, so not only seniors, but others, there might be other risk factors that make people, maybe they haven't called yet or they didn't apply or follow up with FEMA, et cetera. So what we're doing is we prioritize, there was over 100,000 people that we know were affected by this. So we prioritized 12,000 based on risk factors that we were able to gather from information that we had. So we are reaching out to folks, but what you all can do is help by doing the events like you had, by your local churches providing information in outreach events, et cetera. And we all, I would say, all three of our organizations are willing to come out and do community gatherings to share that information about how we can be of resource in your community, to those particularly that you're saying. Because a lot of times, too, like, it was just they didn't have access to the internet, or they don't have, right? So there's all these reasons that are acting as barriers to be able to get help. Yep.
All right, we have one here.
Say, for instance, if you're not a homeowner but you're a renter, would you be denied assistance?
Not necessarily. So it depends on the kind of assistance that we can definitely provide case management. We aren't able to do repairs to a rental facility. So because the expectation through FEMA is that the landlord would make those repairs, which may or may not be the case. Where we can come in is if you aren't getting resolution there, and Chris can probably speak to this a little bit, but we can help with relocation perhaps. We can also, if you lost things as a renter, clothing or things like that, those are areas that we might be able to support in also. But we can't actually do repairs to a rental.
All right, got one over here.
I have a couple questions. What if you were a renter at the time of the disaster? You failed to get FEMA assistance, but you applied for the SBA, got that loan, but then you still had other damages like your washer or other things went out after that clothes was damaged, but now you've moved and purchased your home. How can you find out if the home you purchased, now that you see a lot of water damage, was affected by that disaster? And how can you qualify for both aspects?
So what I would do is, depending on what zip code you live in, that's where I think if you contact a case manager, they're going to help you be able to navigate that.
So what we do, we have a construction analyst. When you get into the case manager process, that will come out to your home and evaluate those scopes of things, tell you the issues that you might see, the problems, if it has water damage, if it's an ongoing problem that you need to address. Also, in the same token, if you check, two things. If you check your water bills and the aspects of usage, you can see if the leak was ongoing from a problem in the house. But if you also look around the aspects of your home and just look at the foundation that you walk around it. One of the things I do outside of work, I do home inspections. So every time I walk up to somebody's house, I'm evaluating something. When you walk around your house, if you see things that don't look settling in the moment, you should definitely go inside and check it because it's going to be a problem. If it doesn't look right, 9 times out of 10, it isn't right. But our case managers do a very good job at helping you navigate through that, especially in the aspects that you fell in the area that was affected by the disaster. So whatever zip code you were in then and now, let us know and we'll tell you where you fall into, and we'll see about getting you set up.
And there is going to be a really easy way to determine whether the home that you're purchasing was affected, because we have a information sharing agreement with FEMA, so we have access to. And it's all by address, and so we can run that address. A case manager can look at that home address and say, well, we know it was because the previous owner did apply for FEMA.
Any additional questions that I may have missed? All right, that's when you know you've done a great presentation. We appreciate you. Any final words you want to offer?
No, I appreciate you all being here and spreading the word of the project. Like I said, we have another year that we're going to be here working, and we want to make sure that we're helping as many folks as we can recover.
And the address that you asked for earlier, sir, is 15600 Grand River Avenue. Yes, ma'am.
All right, you all give it up again for Ms. Nancy Money, Executive Director of After the Storm, Michigan Disaster Response and Recovery, and Chris Hicks, Disaster Case Management Program Assistant Director for Wayne Metro. All right, coming up next is our favorite segment of the D1 Monthly Meeting, and that is, I'm waiting for it. Youth Spotlight. It's the Youth Spotlight. We have some very phenomenal young men that are here today. They're doing big things, and they're only 16 and 17 years old. All right, 16 to 17 years old, yes. And the reason why we have the Youth Spotlight at every District 1 monthly meeting that we have is because we're inundated with images and videos and words that we hear about the negative that have invaded our young people. These young folks, we hear it all the time. It's our job to uplift the ones who are doing what we need them to do. And it's not always the A and B student, not always the one that has all the medals and awards. Sometimes it was like a student like myself who went from a D to a B. That was huge. We've got to support and celebrate our young folks who are doing the right thing, and we're going to do that today with the Mack Brothers. But before I bring them up, we're going to show a quick little video.
What's up, Detroit? What's up, Detroit? Thank you for having the Mack Brothers. Thank you. We appreciate it. I have an idea. And we know something about everyone here. And that is, you have ideas too. But you think it's too late. You have a family, a car note, student loans, and you have a reality of debt that just makes your ideas sound ridiculous. And you're older, so you have to be all mature about life. Me and my brother have so many ideas. I mean, so many ideas. We're actually becoming the Idea Youth Entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Andre Mack, and I'm 12 years old. I'm Austin Mack, and I'm 11 years old. And we are the Mack Brothers. But for a moment, you could call us doctors. We're here to resuscitate your ideas that people keep telling you you're too old to have. And people told us we're too young to have, but that never stopped us. True.
We can stop. Yeah, we just wanted to show them in action. Yeah, and that was a number, I think that was 2018. They did TED Talk here in the city of Detroit. Now, you see those young fellas on the screen there. They're still young, but they're not that young anymore. We want to bring them forward. Y'all give a warm D1 welcome for the Mack Brothers, Undra Mack II, and Austin Mack, again known as the Mack. No, y'all better give it up louder than that. These are young folks doing what we want them to do. All right? Now come on up here. We're gonna do this first. They need to hear a little bit more about your bio. All right, the Mack Brothers are youth entrepreneurs as well as the authors of 3 books. In 2018, at the age of 10 and 11, the Mack Brothers delivered their first TED Talk in front of 4,000 attendees, and has since been seen by thousands. The brothers have been featured on Fox 2 News, Scene Magazine, Yahoo News, Benzinga, Tech Magazine, Chase Bank, and more. The brothers the Mack Brothers, wrote their first book at the age of 9 and 10 years of age. Using some of their earnings from their lawn care service, they were able to get a few hundred copies printed to sell to friends and families. Now here's the good part, even better. Presently, the Mack Brothers have sold over 32,000 copies of their books. The Mack Brothers are committed to continuing contributing relevant and impactful books. While they enjoy sharing their experiences and knowledge, their ultimate reward is knowing that they are making a contribution to positivity and encouraging literacy. The Mack Brothers are part owners of Mack Brothers Holdings LLC, founded in 2017. Mack Brothers Holdings is the parent company for Mack Brothers Lawn Service, Picture to Picture Publishing, 3030 Music Group, and Mack Brothers Holdings Housing and Development. So we're going to talk a little about that. I mean, these young men doing things that folk my age and older have not even begun to touch yet. So y'all, one more time for the Mack Brothers. All right, gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Well, let me give you this mic too. That way you both can talk. All right, touch that.
Testing.
All right, there we go. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Talk to us a little bit. So we got the bio, right? That's one thing to read words on the paper. Some of these folks, how many of you heard of the Mack Brothers before? All right, so I've heard of you, and that's why we made sure you're here. So you're given the opportunity to introduce yourself to a group of folks who may need your services, or maybe they're young folks who need your services. Talk a little bit about what you do.
So me and my brother, over the years, have acquired multiple companies. So we all started with lawn care service. We wanted to do something in our community, and we also wanted to be active over the summer. So overall, it was a boring summer. Then one day we was like, let's go cut our grandmother's grass. Went over there, she paid us for it. We got excited that we could see we could make a little money doing this. So then around the neighborhood, people started asking us to cut their lawns. We started cutting their lawns, gained some traction, people started to recognize us over the city. And so then we were like, what else can we do with this lawn service other than just cut grass? My brother, who is a drawer, he started drawing images of us cutting grass, animated images. And so then I'm more of a writer myself, and we both started writing together, and we just said, oh, let's come up with a book together. So overall, we wrote our first book, and then we inspired our older, she's our older cousin. So we inspired our older cousin. She wanted to write her own book as well. She had lemonade service. So she did a lemonade stand every single summer, and she was gaining her own traction from that. So then we partnered with her, wrote a flip book. You have an example book back there? If you look at my mom in the matching shirt, says us back there. So we wrote a flip children's book. So this is AJ's Lemonade, that's our cousin. And then this is the Mack Brothers book. So it's a 2-in-1 book. You read our story, then you flip it around and you can read her story. And overall, it just talks about youth entrepreneurship. And that's what we really found our groove and niche in. It's not just one thing. We're interested in multiple things. Like, I don't want to just be a lawyer. I might want to be a real estate agent, right? So overall, that's talking about our initial venture in youth entrepreneurship.
And the main goal of the books is to really inspire people our age to, you know, I'm gonna be honest. Kids our age isn't gonna look up a YouTube video on us and, like, you know, they need something that's really suited to them. So it was really for youth entrepreneurship to really affect, like, kids our age and younger. Yeah.
And so then that led us into further ventures, and we got downtown walking around and we seen this big old building, and it was a software tech development company. And so then we said, we want to do that next. So then we learned how to coded some apps and sold some software. Then we made our third company, Apply IT. So that's our software development company where we create and sell software for companies and where we make our own apps and stuff like that.
And through our coding venture, we also created our own website, so it'll be more easy to contact us with book information and also booking with our lawn service.
And so after that venture, my mom, I'm going to give you your credit for this. My mom, she was, a lot of us grew up in music. Like, we grew up in music. So me and my brother especially, we grew up in music. And you know when you're younger and you want to know more about your parent after a certain age? So we started asking her questions on what did she used to do when she was our age. Turns out she was in the music industry. She worked with artists like Nelly, Ashanti, and various people of that sort. A lot of people, Charlie Wilson, people like that. And so then we said, we want to get into music next. So we started doing music, made our own record label, and made our own management company. So then that ventured into, for some reason, that ventured into real estate. So now we do real estate.
And I feel like the reason we're mentioning this right now is our ambition. I thank my mom for our ambition to just let us do certain things, because who's really letting their 8 and 9-year-old just cut a random person's grass? Like, let's be for real. So I just thank our mom, you know, for really nurturing that and letting us, like, kind of find our own path. So let's just give it up.
Yeah. We're going to have Mom come up here, too, in a minute. So be prepared.
As you can see, she doesn't like being in the spotlight that much. But so that led us into our real estate venture. Now we do real estate out of Atlanta, Houston, Texas, and also Detroit.
No, I was just going to say, now you see why there are youth spotlights for today. All right, so we're not just talking about one or two things. These young men have a huge future ahead of them, and we are here to celebrate. Mom, can you come on down just a minute, if you will, please? Give Mom a round of applause. Because we say it all the time, as special as these young folks are, it didn't happen by accident. Didn't happen by accident. And so I know you have a few words that you want to say on behalf of your sons.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the city of Detroit, Councilman Tate's office, and everyone in District 1 for coming out. I want to say hello to my longtime friend over there, Crystal. She and I went to middle school together. If I may just say on behalf of the Mack Brothers, I'm delighted to be their mom. I'm delighted to be their manager as well. But I'm also delighted to exist in a world with them. I really never have any issues out of them as far as behavioral and the like. They showed a sign of ambition very early in life. And as a parent, I thought that it was my duty to take those ambitions, and my son used the perfect word, nurture those ambitions. I'd like to speak more to the youth that you all may be around. The Mack brothers have their story, and that's wonderful, but we all can have those stories as well. Nieces, nephews, daughters, sons, or just someone in the community that you can, inspire or mentor throughout the process. Their latest venture into the housing and development has really taken, how you doing, Brother Dixon? Has really taken off. We wanted to be here for this occasion. We went down south. They found a house and got back Tuesday. They negotiated and put down a deposit on it to build up another dilapidated community down there as well. And basically what they're learning to do is build within the infrastructure of the home, plumbing, so on and so forth. So what is that teaching them in the process? A skill set, as well as putting them on a career path. So it's things like that that, we can take advantage of with our youth and engage them. And maybe they'll be a little less interested in the negative things, drugs, crime, hanging out activity, appearance. We always talk about appearance, appearing as if they don't have anything going on for them. Because the truth of the matter is your outward appearance speaks before any word comes out of your mouth. So we have to be accountable to that as well. And we want our young people to be accountable to that as well. I just want to give you a couple pieces of information how to contact us. And for this reason and this reason only, we don't want it to just be the Mack brothers. We want it to be the Williams brothers, the Williams sisters, the Dixons, the Davenports. We want it to be a multiplicity of young people doing well in the community. They were homeschooled. I try to give them a lot of leeway to figure out the things that they would like to do in life. I discovered in homeschooling them that the biggest decision that each and every one of us will have to make is learning how to process making a choice. You have to understand the process of making a choice. Recently, my son was accepted into Wayne State on a merit scholarship. So I'm very proud of that. And Austin is slated to go to Michigan State in the fall of 2024. But my sentiments are this. How you doing, Officer Reed back there? But my sentiments are this. If we all can commit ourselves to a young person, imagine the difference that it would make. Because the room is filled with adults. They're leaving here to speak at the Lifers rally now. All adults. But we have to get our young people in the room too, because they're the ones that are affecting the quality of life in our neighborhoods, what we see, how we engage. We want to be able to go to a corner store, a gas station, so on and so forth. So if we can make a commitment to engage our young people, then we can have 2 or 3 people here at the D1 meetings for the Youth Spotlight. I really thank you for doing this, because you could just keep it all, with your adults in the District 1 area, but I appreciate you reaching out to the young people. It means a lot to us, and it says a lot for your character and the role that you play in the city of Detroit. And again, I'm honored you asked me to speak. I thought I didn't talk a lot. Seems like I'm really getting engaged here. But I'm really passionate about our young people. So you'll probably hear me talk a lot when it comes to our young people. Again, I want to thank you two for what you contribute to the reputation of the family and also the reputation of our community. God bless you both. God bless you as well.
Don't leave yet. Don't leave. See, she's trying to leave. Don't leave. Now, we got some words of encouragement. I know that. They're doing a tremendous job already. And it's one thing to clap We love claps and applause, but sometimes words. Sometimes our young folks need to hear some beautiful words, some words of encouragement to continue that great work that they're doing.
All right. Well, okay. You want me to hold it? Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mom, because it speaks volumes. Because you created an atmosphere for them to grow and achieve their goals, and that's most important. So I thank you for being the mom that you are. And thank you, young men, because that's something that I do. I mentor youth, and we'll talk about that later. And just to see that, you know, they always say that our black boys aren't doing what they're supposed to do, but that's untrue. And so I admire your tenacity and drive. You encourage me, and I'm an adult, and I am just going off into the entrepreneur mind. I mean, having an entrepreneur mindset. So now I'm about to go get my act together and step up my A game and establish my things. And so I appreciate you, and I will be in contact with you guys because I want you to speak to our youth.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Any other words? I know we have words. Yes, yes.
Hi. Yes, I appreciate your presence here today. And I, too, reared my boys similar to that. And a young man just sent my son is 30 now. He's a software engineer with Audible with Amazon. But he is now going to real estate school to get a real estate license in addition to that and just attain an LLC. So I appreciate what the young men are doing. A young man that was a neighbor of ours sent my son a Facebook post the other day, and from what I taught my sons, this young man would come and ask my son for money, and my son would tell him, "Hey man, I don't have any money, you got to go get your own." So he sent a message to my son and said, "Thanks for showing me at a young age not to ask any man for nothing. Thanks for coming to Coleman Young to beat up them boys for messing with me." And so now that young man has a lawn care business because my son shared with him, don't go ask anybody, get your own, man. So I appreciate you, man, you guys, for doing that, such a thing. And
Thank you.
continue
Thank
on. And what aspects of real estate are you in?
Overall, we're in the flipping and rehabbing and renting out.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Have another?
I would like to just congratulate you both and your
Thank
mom
you.
for a
Thank
job
you.
well done. Keep up the good work and continue to keep God first and foremost in your lives. Continue to stay focused, stay grounded, and continue to keep teamwork as a priority and continue to reach out to the youth. And I can see you guys doing great work with software, really great work. I know that industry is growing, and I can see you guys doing well in that area. So stay focused and stay grounded.
Thank you.
All right. I'm coming to Brother Jason Dixon. This man works with a lot of young folks, and he's very experienced in how to mentor and tutor and do all these things. So I know you have a couple of words to say.
So let me hold that microphone.
Nope.
So I'm very proud of you guys. I've been attached with the Weeks family since probably we was 18, 16, 17. I just got my driver's license, let me say that. So I know your grandmother very well. I know your aunts and your cousins. We all grew up together, but you know, the thing that I'm learning is if you come from a family of a mindset and you can see someone actually performing a type of work, most of the time young people will emulate what they see. So when we're doing work, when we do work with young people, make sure you're not just telling them. Make sure you're showing them. Make sure you show them how articulate you are. Make sure you show them documents that you put together and why you put the document. Make sure they learn vocabulary words because that's so important because if you know your vocabulary, you can go in any room and communicate at any given time and you can win. We just was in a meeting with one of the vice presidents of Stellantis this morning prior to us coming here. And I told this young man that we're mentoring now, I said, we got to get there 15 minutes early. Because if you're on time, if it's 9 o'clock, we're late. And I wanted to make sure I organized the room. I wanted to make sure I saw where we was going to be sitting to make sure we was comfortable with our speech. Make sure we had to get on the phone and call someone else we could hear that. So we had to plan. So oftentimes, if we don't really share our ups and our downs and what we're thinking with young people, it's just not going to work. You have to share the whole process. You have to share when you wake up in the morning how you feel, and you ask them how they feel. But I already know you got some champions here, so make sure you get their information. Make sure you support them because that's what they need. Me and the Weeks family, I remember they was around me when I bought my first 2-family flat. And all my friends were still in going to college or in school, but I was 18. And I got my first 2-family flat. By the time I was 26, I had 26 pieces of property, houses, and 4 commercial buildings. So I made my first million when I was 24 years old. I opened a medical supply store, a pharmacy, and a home care company. Then I was able to sell that to a hedge fund. Now we're doing telecommunications. So all you got to do is set the young people up on a pathway and build great relationships. And tell them, don't be angry. Don't be angry. Figure out how to win. Learn how to solve a problem for not just yourself, but for someone else, and we can win. So just share that with them, all right? You guys have a wonderful, great job, guys.
Thank you.
All right. So again, we want to thank you for joining us, and we never allow our young folks to leave empty-handed. Jillian. On behalf of the City of Detroit, we would like to present the awards of recognition, and it's signed by all the members of the Detroit City Council. This is the time where you'll give applause.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Congratulations, gentlemen. You do a great job of representing us. Mom, you come on in the photo too. It's picture time. District 1, we're in District 1, so put up a 1 finger. All right. Thank you so much, the Mack Brothers. Oh, you know what? One more thing. Where are your handles at? I mean, people need to know how to get in touch with you, see you, and all that good stuff.
You could contact us on our Instagram at the Mack Brothers, and we also have a website, themackbrothersholdings.com. So, yep, and you can find our email on our website. You can find contact number and stuff like that. Thank you.
And last but not least, their third book, Earn Early, which is about youth entrepreneurship, establishing financial literacy and skill at an early age, will be released on September the 9th. And if you reach out to the website, MackBrothersHoldings.com, you can register, and we will send you an invite to come to their book signing. Thank you all.
I know where my email is going. Yes, congratulations again. Thank you so much. Y'all give it. They're leaving the building. Y'all give them a round of applause. They need to stay lifted. They're about to go and give a speech. All right. So our next segment, many of the folks in our community, they are battling addiction and a challenge that they can't necessarily get themselves out of. And we always mention that in District 1 monthly meeting, we certainly talk about city infrastructure and things like that, city programs, but we want to make sure that you have information that you can use for your entire life as a whole person, you and your family. And today we want to highlight an organization that's located right here in District 1, and that's the CLASS Agency. CLASS stands for Changing Lives and Staying Sober. We have joining us today, now let me just say, the leader of the CLASS Agency, Dr. Carla Mitchell. She is fierce, she is dynamic, she is phenomenal, but she's not here today. She's actually out of town on a family excursion, and so she had some very influential and dynamic individuals that are joining us today as well. Yes, that's you. To represent the organization. Joining us is Cody Jackson, Chief of Staff, and Anitra Jones, Certified Prevention Specialist. That's right, we can clap. It's time to clap. So to give you a little information about the folks that are going to be before you and give you some information that you can take along with you. Come on down, come on up. Ms. Anitra Jones brings more than 15 years of administrative assistance to the organization. She was first introduced to CLASS as a parent on of CLASS Agency's youth ambassadors, having traveled with the youth consort to DC. Almost 2 years later, Ms. Anitra joined the organization as a prevention services lead, and is now a certified prevention specialist in development, leading the agency's prevention programming, evidence-based model selection, and serving as the CLASS liaison for youth serving organizations, schools, and other civic partnerships. Now, Cody Jackson is the newest member of the agency and the Chief of Staff. As a recent Central Michigan grad with the Bachelor's of Science in the Business Administration, he aims to take his years of education and help so the agency take it to the new and next best heights. Cody believes in building and developing relationships within the community to increase knowledge of prevention and recovery services to those in need. Y'all give it again up for Class Agency. And I missed somebody else. I didn't get the bio, so
Yeah.
who do we have joining us?
Can I?
Absolutely.
Okay. My name is Erica Van Ostein. I'm actually the lead recovery coach. I'm a grateful recovering addict of 5 years. I'm also a survivor of human trafficking, and I lead up the Bridge the Gap program.
Amen. Amen. All right. So, yeah, round of applause. So if you can please, I mean, a lot of folks may or may not know, and let me just say, again, located in District 1 in the Old Redford area, so you know, located in District 1 in the Old Redford area. Talk to us a little bit about class.
Awesome.
And why is it important for class to even exist today?
Okay. So we're going to let Cody kick off since he has the college degree.
First, we want to thank District 1 and Councilman Tate for inviting us all out here today. We're really appreciative for all that, and thank you to everyone who came out to see all of us, all of the good work we're hearing about in the community. So first things first, we are changing lives and staying sober, also known as Class Agency. Like we've said, we're located right down the street on Grand River between Lasher and Old Redford Road in the historic Obama building. I don't know, are we controlling the slides or?
Next slide.
We'll take care.
So the next slide, please. So our mission is to plan and implement prevention services and environmental strategies that prevent and reduce youth substance use and its associated consequences. So with that, we have Anitra Jones here, our youth prevention specialist. She works with a lot of our youth in the community. Right now, we're located in 2 schools. So we're located in Old Redford, and we're trying to get in Henry Ford High School. And then we also do life skills classes at Crowell Community Center. For our vision, we're looking for a sober culture free of alcohol, tobacco, and other drug misuse and its related disorders among youth, their families, in Greater Wayne County. For some of our values, we focus on youth voice, so we have people like one of our youth here today, Ms. Brianna. We're focused on equity within the community, healthy norms, community, systems change, and a sober culture. So that's a lot of our big things. If you want to move next slide, please. So about our community, like I said, we're located in District 1 in the historic bank building, known affectionately in the neighborhood as the Obama building, in the heart of Detroit's Old Redford community. So we've been here for 2 years now?
Yes.
A little less than 2 years. We moved into that building right up the street. We love it there, great building, great location. You can see our front-facing offices right next door. We have Dr. Mitchell's private practice where she practices holistic healing, and she's always open for getting new clients to help people get into a holistic lifestyle. And that's one of our other things that we push forward to. Next slide, please. So a little more about the agency and our background. Class Agency is an IRS tax-exempt nonprofit, CARF accredited, so that's called the Commission of Accredited of Rehabilitation Facilities. The agency administrative offices are located at 17405 Lasher Street in Detroit, Michigan. The mission of Changing Lives and Staying Sober is to offer holistic prevention and treatment services that help to improve the quality of life for families impacted by substance misuse. So that's just a little bit background about our agency. You want to look forward to the next slide, please? So some of our accomplishments is that between our staff, we have 600 hours of training to staff, volunteers, and the general public, and that's 600 hours of training. We do Narcan training. We're all CPR certified up here. We do all types of other trainings to educate people in the community about drug misuse and how you can help people out. We aim to assist 500 youth and adults every single year, so that's one of our big things. We have our youth panels, youth coalition that we have, along with the adults that we help get into recovery. We have 400 laypersons trained in opioid emergency, aka Narcan, and naloxone response things. So that's our Narcan classes that we teach up at the 8 precincts constantly. We have the Narcan trainings on demand, so if you call our offices, we can do Narcan trainings. We do 3 million impressions on social media, so that's any of our social media. You can find us at Class Agency, Instagram, Facebook. We're looking to get a Twitter soon. And we have 2,000 youth that we service. So using the Botfin Life Skills Education Program, that's Ms. Jones, where she teaches it at Old Redford Community Middle School and Crowell, the community center right up the road here, where we do all types of life skills training with the kids.
You want me to just skip ahead?
You can skip this slide, please.
To promoting silviculture.
Well, first one is. And this is just a brief snapshot of our district. So a lot of people don't know that District 1 is one of the most heavily affected areas in terms of drug misuse in the city of Detroit. A lot of people, they don't understand these things until they see the numbers and just how heavily affected the area and the community is. So this isn't the snapshot from this or last quarter, but this is 2 quarters back. And it looks at just how many people overdose on a daily basis in the area. And a lot of people, they don't like to hear this information because it hits so close to home and things like that. But these are things that everyone needs to know, and that we are here available as resources for anyone that has any sort of misuse, for no matter what drug, substance abuse you have. We're always here for resources. Next slide, please.
So how do we prevent these issues that we see on the chart prior to the promoting a sober culture? And that is what Ms. Erica and I do at the agency. So I am the prevention specialist, and my job is all things prevention. And so what I basically do at the agency is I have workshops and programs mostly geared towards the adolescent or youth, and we do some for the adults. We have community town hall meetings for the adults, but it's all geared around prevention. And our goal is to build up the adolescents to make them healthy and whole, in whatever aspect that is. And so therefore we deal with mental health issues, we deal with if they're battling with substance misuse, or we deal with them as a whole body. So I encourage them, I build up self-esteem, I talk about entrepreneur opportunities, we talk about financial literacy, we talk about choices, making choices in life. How do you make the right choices? What options should you be weighing out when you're making those choices? We talk about coping with anxiety and anger, because our youth deals with a lot of anxiety and anger. And then the thing that we hit on the most is identity. Who are you? Most of our youth don't know who they are. And so what I try to do is I try to build up an identity. And so we do this project called Rock Your Brand, establishing a brand. What do you want the world to see you as? How do you want the world to categorize you as? So you have to build yourself up, your outer appearance and also your internal self, so that the world can see you and you can rock a great brand. And so we do things, prevention. So if we build up the youth, then hopefully they won't become adults and get into risky behavior. So as Cody said, I teach that class at our agency every Saturday morning, which I was supposed to be teaching today, and the kids are upset because I canceled. But I teach it every Saturday morning from 12 to 1 at our office. And then every Thursday at Crowell Rec Center from 4 to 5. And then I go to various high schools and middle schools. I'm currently at Old Redford. This coming September, I'll be in Henry Ford High School. So, and if you guys know any youth facilities or schools that would like our program, I'm gonna leave my information, just reach out to me, and then I'll contact the principal or the director of that agency, and we can bring our program to them. And Erica does the recovery side.
So again, I'm the lead recovery coach, and for those of you who don't know what a recovery coach is somebody with lived experience. And what I do is I help people get into treatment for drugs, alcohol, mental health, but the program is called Bridging the Gap because I bridge the gap to services. So I do the work. There is help out here for people. The thing is, if you are in crisis mode, you are not going to sit on the phone on hold for 45 minutes. So I bridge the gap. I'm that person that'll sit on the phone. I'm that person that walks with them every step of the way, whatever that looks like. And also, we have a business lift account. So over the phone, I could help them navigate the access hotline, get a treatment center to go to, and I can actually send a lift for them and lift them from wherever they're at to treatment. Because a lot of times if I'm looking for help, when I was ready to look for help, that's what hindered me for so long, because it's like, oh, I need a ride. Well, by the time I got that ride, I also got a paycheck. So you already know how that went. I didn't go to treatment. So it's like the ideal is getting people to the help as quick as possible. And also I do recovery groups. I do recovery groups 3 days a week. Right now it's via Zoom. I also, I just teach I help with all different ways to recovery. Me personally, I am NA and I'm total abstinent, but that's not the only way. So I since working here, I've definitely opened my mind to harm reduction in all different ways. So that's just what we do. That's what I do here. And I just help in any way that I can.
To summarize real quickly, so prevention, life skill program for adolescents and youth, 10 to 17. You can reach out to us. Treatment program, anybody battling with substance misuse, either they need to go into inpatient or outpatient treatment, they can reach us at our agency. And lastly, resources. We have, if you can go to the next slide, the last thing that we offer is we have resources. We have drug disposal pouches, which are deterra bags. And so any of our seniors or anyone in the room, if you have unused prescription medication, and you want to properly dispense or dispose that medication, you can come to our agency and you can get the Terra bags from us. And what you do is you put those unused medication inside that bag and it deactivates it in a safe way, and then you can throw it away. Then we also have our overdose kits, which are Narcan. I know the 8th precinct, they come up to us a lot and they get our Narcan kits, and those are used to revive any individual that's having an opioid or a fentanyl overdose, and then it's simply you squirt it in their nose and it can revive them, right? And then we also have our medical marijuana lock boxes. We know parents and adults use marijuana. So the thing is, we provide those boxes as a safety kit so you can lock it up from the youth, so they won't get access to it. So we do things for harm reduction as well. And so those are the things that we offer at our agency. And again, we'll have more of that information after this presentation. We're just here to help the community. We are, like, again, based on our screenshot that we have, overdoses is something that is plaguing District 1. And we don't want to see that anymore. So our goal is to help and to provide resources to the community so that our loved ones don't have to die from any substance misuse. And then our main goal also is to make sure youth never have to go into those risky behaviors. So our doors are opened from the hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I don't care if it's your mother, your cousin, your next door neighbor, someone you see on the streets. If you think they need help, reach out to our crisis hotline and we will help. If you see a youth, I love that the fact that the 8th precinct, they send youth to me every day where they go on stops and they encounter a youth that is indulging in risky behavior. And instead of them maybe arresting them or talking bad to them, they refer them to me. And I have a couple of students in my class, and they have definitely made a 180 change in their lives where they're not indulging in those risky behaviors. And that's what we're here to do to help. So we're on Grand River, Suite 200, 2200 Grand River. Our crisis hotline number, if we can go back to that slide, call us if you need us. We're here to help.
Additionally, some of the programs that we do offer for the youth, we have our Action Youth Coalition. So that's where we bring on all of our youth to, all of our youth to events and things like that. This past January, we'd like to do this yearly. Sometimes we go twice a year, but we took some of our youth to Washington, D.C. to talk to some of their representatives, to tour the Capitol, to really get a chance to interact with other national coalitions and things of that nature. Additionally, we had to stop it because of COVID, but we're looking to get it right, turn back up again. But the Youth-Led Opioid Summit, so that's where we bring all of the youth together to a nice building, have a summit focused on information about overdosing, drugs in the area, how to avoid things like that. Coming up very soon, we have the Youth Empowerment Awards. So that is, when is the Youth Empowerment Awards? Is that on here? Yeah. It's on August 11th, so we've already accepted and really voted on nominees. But where we select youth from the area, you and anyone you know can volunteer and nominate youth that you have seen do exceptional things in the community. And we like to award them and say, hey, congratulations, you've done great. Let's get a little recognition for the youth and all the good things they do in the community. Up next, we have the Sober Culture Project.
Next slide.
Yeah, next slide, please.
Next slide.
One more, thank you. So a few years back, there was a project done where it was focusing on the visions and everything you see in the community. So too often do we see liquor stores in every corner and people, trap houses, all types of negative imagery. So we wanted to do something to change that. So we started the Sober Culture Project. And we got a lot of youth in the area to, draw potential artwork and murals that they would like to see focusing on sobriety in the area. If you want to go next slide. So this is one mural that we have, proud to be drug-free. So this was drawn by one of the youth in our coalition years back, and we finally got the resources and the time and location to put this on a building so we could change some of the imagery up in the community. And they see this when you're driving down the street, and it's positive, it's a beautiful black face saying, be drug-free, live a better lifestyle. If you want to go to the next slide.
Where can folks find that? If they want to drive by and take a look, take a photo of it.
This is right by Old Redford Middle School. So if you're driving down, right down the street on Lasher, or
Is that
no, not Grand River.
6 Mile?
6 Mile and
I think it's Redford Street.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
So if you want to drive down and you'll see it, and it's beautiful, it looks great, and it really is. It's a beautiful thing that if you're just driving down the street and you see it, or if you want to stop by, take a picture with it, we would love to see that as well. The next slide actually was painted over recently, but that old liquor store, sitting on Grand River, only bad things were happening out of it. And for years and years, we as an agency, really Dr. Mitchell, executive director, it started when she was at work one day and she saw a school bus of kids just getting home from school at the end of the day. And right next to it, they're at the liquor store, and she sees people dealing drugs right next to a bus full of kids going home from school. And she's like, that's no good. Yeah. In the liquor store, they were clearly encouraging it. They were letting people stash drugs in the building. And as a bus stop for children, she said, that's not good enough. So she partnered with other organizations and in the community. So John George and the Blight Busters to, one, get the liquor store shut down, and two, get it painted over with and get beautiful new imagery painted up on top of it.
Yep. Yeah.
And the last two slides are just other images and murals that we had on the building. Though they recently got painted over because they're doing something new with the building, but these are some of the images that you could see on the building. Then you want to talk about the coalition.
All righty. We're getting to the end of our presentation. So how can you guys get involved? Every other month, we have an action coalition meeting where we bring in community sector leaders and people that reside in the community. And we get together, a roundtable discussion to talk about things, how we can impact change in our community. And so we're hosting a meeting coming up, which is August the 27th, right?
July 27th.
July 27th at 1 p.m. It's going to be at Crowell Rec Center, and it's going to also be virtual. I can share that information with you guys at the end of the meeting, but we have it every other month, and it's your opportunity to come and have a voice. Yes, we do prevention and treatment, but we also are concerned about other issues in the community as well. And so therefore, this is an opportunity for you guys to come and share, and then maybe we can get with Councilman Tate or the 8th Precinct and have a conversation with them on the behalf of you guys to impact change. So our next meeting is July 27 at 1 p.m. via virtual and in person at Crowell Rec Center. Then another way you can get involved is, again, attend our upcoming meetings, attend our monthly coalition meeting, become a sector rep. We're going to be getting with the pastor of this church because we don't have a faith-based organization connected with us. And so if you own a business within District 1 or you are a part of a faith community, we would love to connect with you. And so reach out to us. We'll provide our information and we would love to connect with you. And then become a coalition member. Volunteer, come and volunteer with us. We have community events that we always need volunteers. The three of us try to lug stuff and go to meetings, and it's a lot. And so we can use your support. And then last slide or last conversation, we have upcoming events. Women, we have a women's conference that's going to be September the 23rd through the 24th at the Westin Hotel in Southfield. It's free. It's $50, and you spend a night overnight. It's a whole day conference. You spend a night, and then we have an event in the morning, and it's only $50. And it's about empowering and enriching women. So it's an opportunity for us to come together as a community to be built up, to be encouraged, to be enriched. And so you are more than welcome. I can share that information. It's open to all. okay, but women, of course. And then we have the Recovery Walk. This is a big thing. We sponsor the recovery. We're one of the sponsors for the Recovery Walk, and that's September the 9th. Come out, see what the community is doing in the recovery world. And then, as Cody stated, Youth Empowerment Awards, August the 11th. I wish we knew about the Mack, those young men, because I would have definitely added them. But what we do is we shine a spotlight on the youth, like Councilman Tate does, and then we give them a gift, and then they go on. We run their information like on Channel 2. So it's a big to-do. So, yes.
On July the 28th, additionally, we're having a harm reduction panel discussion. So we're having it at Crowell Rec Center. From 4 to 7, and it's about harm reduction and resources used in the recovery community. So things like we talked about earlier, Narcan kits, a wide variety of other things that we're not going to talk about right here, right now. But July 28th, 4 to 7, Crowell Community Center.
And I just want to add that this is very important, because if you are not familiar with harm reduction, this is a good way to get familiarized with it, because it is in our community, and it's getting a lot bigger, and a lot of people have mixed views about it. So it's definitely a time for you to come learn about it, and it's a safe space to voice your views and opinions on it.
Awesome. Any questions?
Yeah, but so I have one. So I saw earlier you had up there the harm reduction resources. You had the pouch and the other kit and the box, the lock box. A lot of us, when you have used medication, or you went through about 12 of them and it was 15 of them in the bottle or the container, we just maybe throw them away in the trash, or we'll dump them down the toilet. Why is that not the right thing to do?
It gets in the water system when you dump it down when you flush it down the toilet and put it in the trash. You got to think. You have young children that may get in the trash, or you have animals. So you just want it's just a safe way to dispose of it so that others don't get it.
Yeah, and if it's opioids, you definitely don't want the community to go in your trash and find it, because then now we are adding to the issue.
And for those harm reduction resources, are they free? What's
free
the
of charge.
Absolutely.
At the office, you stop by anytime.
All right, free.
Yeah.
Got one over here.
Yes, for the Women's Empowerment Conference, is that $50? You're in a room by yourself, or is that double occupancy?
Double occupancy, yes.
Okay,
double.
and, okay.
Okay,
That's it.
all right.
Got one here.
My question was, I know you were talking about opioids, but what about these over-the-counter medications that the kids are getting, like the Benadryl or the cough syrup or the vapor and pens? What are you doing as far as at that level before they reach up to the opioids and the, what is that drug called? Phenylpine? What's that?
Fentanyl.
Fentanyl,
Yeah.
which is supposed to be medication drugs for medication purposes, but now they're doing it for other purposes like street drugs. So what do you do about stuff like that? Is the FDA putting out warnings, or are you guys reaching an education, doing education toward those younger people who are using Benadryl and cough syrup and melatonin, all these over-counter medications?
So 2 things. That's what our drug prevention life skill program address. And so what we do is we go into various schools and youth serving organizations, and we talk about those issues. We talk about why you shouldn't take your friend's Benadryl, why you shouldn't take more than what the doctor prescribed. So we talk about that. We go to various events and talk about it. And then the second thing is we work with the Wayne County Youth Super Coalition, which is all over, which deals with all of the coalitions in Wayne County. And they get together and they talk about policy changes. How can we go? We go to our legislators and we talk about impacting policies where the kids can't have access to those over-counter drugs, where they're being more scrutinized and watched. And so and that's another thing that we do. When we go to Washington, D.C. in February, that's when we talk to our legislators about changing the laws, coming up with more warning instructions and things of that sort so that our kids won't have access. But that's why it's good for the coalition meeting, because we can only do so much by ourselves, but we can do great things together. So, but we do get out in the community as much as we can with our prevention program to talk about those issues.
And I wanted to add to that is that Ms. Anisha has a wonderful way of coming from a point of non-judgment, and she gives a lot of information to the youth so that they can feel that they're making their own decision versus, this is your brain on drugs. If that worked, I wouldn't be here right now. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work. So she meets them where they're at, and she gives them good information about the reason why you shouldn't.
But that was a good question.
And additionally, this past October, we did red ribbon rallies in a lot of schools. So in Paul Robeson Malcolm X Academy and in Old Redford, we had red ribbon rallies where we had the kids come in. We did all types. We had music. It was a big live event in the schools. But additionally, we had presentations talking about one of the biggest is the harms of vaping. And a lot of kids think that it's healthier than cigarettes and it's healthier than this, healthier than that. It's like, no. Yeah. This is just as bad, if not worse for you. And we showed them images of, what it does to their body, what it can mean for their future, for their learning, for their athletics, because a lot of middle schoolers, they don't understand that, if you're doing all of these drugs, you aren't going to make it to the NBA, you aren't going to make it to the NFL, because, your lungs are going to be shot. So we aimed a lot on educating the kids, and we're meeting them where they are. So we're focusing on things that they're highly interested in, whether that be education, athletics, having fun with your friends. A lot of it we aimed on educating them instead of just throwing the information in their faces.
And one last thing that we implemented too, we're going to be starting this fall, is a Strengthen the Family program for parents. Because if we can impact the parents, we can get the kids. And so we can have that conversation with the parents and make them change the narratives in their home, then maybe the kids may not go into using over-the-counter drugs or even stronger drugs. And so we're going to be starting now. I will be starting that in September, where we're going to be bringing in groups of parents, and we're going to be taking them through the prevention program and building up healthy families, healthy communication, so that we can stop the bad behavior with our youth.
We've got one over here.
Thanks for coming. This is Ms. Shakur at Prairie St. Mary's. I have two questions. One is, you said that there were about 2,000 young people in District 1. Would you please tell me the ages, kind of like, from what to what?
10 to 17.
10 to 17?
Yes.
And my other question is, you say you have holistic healing. Could you tell me who does that? Is it a medical doctor?
Yep.
So our executive director, Dr. Mitchell, who couldn't be here today, she's away at her son's baseball tournament, and we're rooting all for him. But she is also a holistic practitioner. She has our offices right next door to us. And when she gets back, she's going to be back and taking patients. And if we'd love to get your information and get you all scheduled in for an appointment.
Now, what did you say her name is?
Dr. Carla Mitchell.
And the name of that practice is House of Healthy Living.
H-A-U-S.
Yep.
So not H-O-S-E, H-O-U-S-E.
Located where?
Right next door to our offices.
2200
Zero.
22000 Grand River Avenue, Suite 300. You're welcome.
All right, we've got one all the way back here.
Hello. Thank you so much. First of all, I'm glad to hear that you said something about starting in the home, because everything does start in the home. And secondly, I want to ask, do you all have any literature into what you have up here on the screen?
Yes, we do. All right, we'll make sure you get it.
All right. Any additional questions? Any additional questions? All right, please join me in thanking Class Agency for being here, providing so much valuable information. One more time, if folks want to reach out to you, put that slide up if you will.
He's Brandon finding it.
I think it's the third to last.
There
slide.
we go.
Okay, awesome.
All right.
Actually, there's another one with even more information.
It's okay. We working, Brandon.
I think it's like the third to last slide, it might be. Unless that's all of the slides. One more.
There we go.
One more. One more. One more. There it is.
There we go. There we go.
We know who put together the slides, right? Y'all give it up again, Class Agency. Our last presentation, but certainly not least, how many of you recall when we announced the Dangerous, Dead, and Diseased Tree Removal Program? How many of you are excited when we announced that program? How many of you are still excited about the program? All right, all right. I'm about to say y'all better keep those hands up. Overwhelming response throughout the city of Detroit. So now, of course, we in this office, we spearheaded and we started having the conversations and, worked with the mayor, and we found some money, worked with my colleagues, put more money into the program. So we have a program that we've never had before to remove trees, dangerous, dead, and diseased trees on private property. Typically, we're removing those trees on the berm. That's city property. That's ours. So that's our responsibility. So we said, look, there's a need in the city of Detroit. We know it. Everywhere across the city, we see these trees that a branch has fallen here, a limb has fallen here, or the tree has fallen, or is in risk of doing all those things. And people just don't have the funds, especially when you have deferred maintenance. And I say this all the time. I have one of the largest trees in my neighborhood on my property. To trim it was $7,000. Yup, $7,000. That's just to trim it. And I've got to continue to keep that thing trimmed, or it's going to continue to be a huge cost. And every time I do so, it hits the pockets hard. I've been blessed, my wife and I, to be able to actually go forth and get that tree limb cut. It was actually over my neighbor's home. And that's what scared me. Every time we had storms, whether it's in the summer or the winter time, I was afraid that the weight of whatever, whether it's snow or water, the rain would drop that limb on my neighbor's home. And that's certainly something I don't want on my conscience. But we came up with this program. It is now in the about third or fourth month where we've been talking about it, somewhere around there. But I don't want to continue to talk about it. I want to bring forward the Director of General Services. She was just appointed to that position a couple of months ago, but she's doing a tremendous job. We get a lot of information from her, and she is really looking to retool the way that the department operates, and the program is her responsibility at this point. She's doing, again, a tremendous job with the resources that she has. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm D1 welcome to Ms. Crystal Perkins. She is the Director of General Services.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Like President Pro Tem said, I am Crystal Perkins. I am the Director of General Services Department, and I thank you, President Pro Tem, for spearheading this initiative. This is the first of its kind. In the past, the city has not done anything with private trees. We've only have removed or trimmed trees that are on city property, and that's the berm, and most recently our land bank on lots. So with this program, we are able to assist private homeowners who in most cases will be unable to have that tree removed or trimmed because of the cost. At one point, the city was known as the city of trees, and we have an aging tree infrastructure here in this city. And so we want to do everything that we can to help. So first, I just would like to tell you a little bit about our department. The General Services Department, we are responsible for, I like to say, the care, the maintenance, and the beautification of the city. Anybody running a slideshow? If you're not, don't worry about it. If you don't.
Yes, we got you.
So we handle all city vehicles. That includes police and fire. So we maintain the vehicles. We have parks and recreation under us. We have blight remediation, ground maintenance. And so with this program, it's falling under our blight remediation division. Most people seem to think it's our forestry division, which handles the city-owned trees, but we did not put it in under there because that's a different set of funding. We have it under our blight remediation. And as of just recently, we've had an overwhelming response to the need to remove or trim these trees. We've had 7,500 people call and sign up for this service. So unfortunately, we had to close our list because the funding is limited. There's no way we will be able to get to every single tree in the city of Detroit. So we've already started surveying the trees that are on the list, and I would say so far we might be at a 50% rate. You know, a lot of people may think that their tree needs to come down when it just needs to be trimmed, or that the tree is not dead or dangerous, or it's not on the private property. So we anticipate that we will do about 50% of those trees on the list, and that's because what we've surveyed so far has been about a 50% eligibility rate. And so if the tree is not dead, if the tree is not dangerous, or if the tree is not diseased, we won't be able to assist. You know, if it's just a nuisance to you, it's just in the way, you know, you want to park your car there, that's not something we will assist with. Because we are in the business of keeping healthy trees. We need it for our environment. So on the back end, we do have our tree planting initiative where we are planting trees to help replace the trees that we need to take down. You can go to the next slide, please. So here we are. The criteria, again, is to be dead, dangerous, or diseased, and the tree must be located on a private property. Our request is overwhelming, so we do have to prioritize. It can't be, unfortunately, on a first-come, first-served basis, because if we have a situation that's dangerous, we're going to take care of that one first. And we had that just recently, where the tree fell from the neighbor's front yard onto the house next door, caused extensive damage. We were out the next morning to remove the tree. We are prioritizing our citizens as well, those who are disabled. Property, they're looking also at blight status, property tax status, and the application date. We'll have a tree inspector assigned to come out and to review your tree. They'll make an appointment because they do want the homeowner to be there. Because if the tree is deemed dangerous, dead, and needs to be removed, or diseased and needs to be removed, there will be some documents that they need to go over with you and that you will need to sign. And then after that, the tree will be assigned for removal. We are expecting each vendor to remove a minimum of 15 trees a week. Right now, we have one vendor who has a fully executed contract. We have 3 additional vendors and contracts that are in the works right now and should be fully executed soon. And then we're going to do an outreach to try to attract a bigger company to help with some of the more dangerous locations. We are incurring some trees that may be in close to the electrical lines. And so we definitely want to make sure we have the experienced vendors who can deal with that. Although it's close to electrical lines, it's still not a DTE responsibility because of where the tree is located. But we need to make sure we have vendors who are equipped and experienced to handle that. Again, we started opening to take calls in April 24th to be exact of this year. And as of the 12th, we had 7,200, but now we have 7,500, so we had to make the decision to close it. Now, this does not prevent us from assisting a resident that has a dangerous situation. With our application process being closed right now, if there is a dangerous situation, we will respond to it. Next slide, please. And so if you have questions or concern, if you're on the list and you want a status update, feel free to call our Blight Remediation Division. Currently, our team is working on sending out bi-weekly status updates. So we've sent email to the individuals who are already on the list and has provided an email address. We are in the process of getting print mail for those who did not provide an email address. We're sending out postcards, and we're working with Do It to try to create a dashboard, something similar to what you see for DPW trash services, where you can go on the website, put in your address, and get a status update. Any questions?
I just want to add one thing, and just so folks understand that this is a pilot program.
This is pilot.
So this is not a permanent program just yet. We are working towards identifying if, in fact, we can find the dollars that are necessary moving forward. These are ARPA dollars, American Rescue dollars that we're using. And as many of you know, we have to spend those ARPA dollars by 2026. So this is a pilot program. We're prayerful that we'll be able to find the dollars necessary and also find the will from you all as a community saying this is what we want, what we need, but also from those of us who are in a position to allocate funding to a program like this. So we're going to need some feedback from you, as we move forward, and we're going to need some grace as well, because again, this is the first time we've done something like this. It is a huge, huge effort, and they're doing the best that they can. I mean, when we look at, I know you hear that we have one contract only for all of these trees. Part of our challenge is that the tree business, they're doing pretty good right now. Okay, so it's hard for them to go, well, you know what, I'm going to leave the customers that I already have, and this long waiting list of customers to go and work with the city of Detroit. They're already lined up. So while we have challenges throughout the city with finding vendors and doing a certain thing, we certainly have a challenge with these tree vendors. So looking forward to the contract. The one we do have is actually a Detroit-based contractor.
Yes, Detroit-based minority, and he's been doing work in the city for a really long time.
Yeah, actually, this Detroit grounds crew, they actually got their start right here in District 1. So the irony of it all. I want to open up for some questions. Any questions? We have one over here.
Okay, once again, I'm one of the first people that signed up for this program, but my concern is because I stay between a lot of vacant houses. Okay, I stay between a lot of vacant houses. I have no trees on my property, but there's a lot of diseased trees around me, and I'm getting big branches in my yard all the time where I have to remove it. I'm a senior citizen. It's hard to pull those big old branches out my yard. But if you're only covering those that's on people's property or people are in the houses where the trees are, how do I get assistance?
So it could be two things. Are the lots that's near you, are they private owned? It doesn't matter if a house is on the parcel or not. Is the parcel privately owned, or do you know if it's land bank owned?
I have no idea. I just know one house has been vacant for over 15 years. And the other side was vacant for like 5 years. Somebody just moved in there. The houses behind me was always vacant, but the house next door to me is a big old tree branch that fell in the street just recently when we had a major storm.
So when the surveyor come out, they'll know, they'll already have the research and know the properties around you. If it's on a private owned property next door to you, even though it's vacant or not, we will still service you. If it's a land bank owned property, vacant or not, we will still service you. So we have 3 tree programs going on in GSD. We have the dead disease for private property. We also have, again, through ARPA funding, we have our land bank trees where we're doing city-owned trees, but not in the berm. But they could be in backyards, but they're on land bank property or any other property that's owned by the city. Okay. You're welcome.
Over here for you.
I have 2 questions. I have trees around my property on different people's land. They're occupied, but the trees are so big and the branches are like covering over into the wires and into my backyard. But when I called, I was told that I could not ask for any services for someone else's property. So how do I get, everybody doesn't know about this project, so how do I get all of those trees and branches taken away from my property? Because the branches are landing on my property.
So did we take your information, though? They did not take your information?
No, they told me I couldn't
I'll
do
take
it.
your information before I leave. We will still have to talk with the private property owners next door to you.
Okay. Then the question is, all the you're replacing, what type of trees are you putting in? Because the city of Detroit has all these overgrown big trees, but when you go to the suburbs, they have these beautiful, colorful trees. So what are we doing about bringing some beauty to Detroit?
Yeah, so the trees that we're planting now are various species of trees. It's not just one, and I don't have that list with me. But we are working with the American Forest Association. We have a partnership with them, and we're planting not just in our neighborhoods, but also on our freeways and service drives as well.
Now, Director Perkins?
Yes.
Earlier today, Director Mitchell, not Mitchell, I'm sorry.
None.
Horhn.
Horhn, yeah. Alvin.
Actually gave out a cell number. And when he gave out that cell number, somebody called. That phone number up there, we've called it before, and that number is no longer in service.
Oh, did they cut the number off?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay. I'll get that reinstated.
Yeah,
I will get that reinstated. But I do have some cards with my cell number on it, and I'll give out my cell number.
All right.
So if you guys are ready, get your pens ready. It's 313, and it's easy. 300 7107. 313 300 7107.
All right. Got one over here.
And it's sitting on the table, so if you call it right here.
Right.
Thanks for the information, Ms. Price. This is Mr. Shakur. I have a tree on the brim, and the branches are falling, and yesterday, when we had the storm, it was shaking, so I was afraid it was going to fall on my property. I have reported this, and my district manager also reported it. Nothing's been done.
Okay, I'll take your information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Got one coming over here.
Thank you. That fortunate resident, I have had my inspection done.
Okay.
And my tree has an X on it, marked for removal.
That's removal.
But here's my question. Next door to me, it is the nonprofit land bank, not the Wayne County land bank. The backyard is filled with trees. So are you able, with your land bank tree removal, to do the nonprofit land bank?
Let me take that information. I have not heard of the nonprofit
I had
land
not
bank
either until last
It's not
week.
the Detroit land bank you're
It's
saying.
not Wayne County's land bank. It is nonprofit land bank in the city of Detroit. It's two. Yes.
So Detroit has a land bank, but so does Wayne County.
Right. So is it Detroit land bank?
Bank.
Well, based on the information the representative gave me, she said, ma'am, there is Eric Sabri, and then there is nonprofit. She would not go into detail as to who headed up. Now, you're saying
It
Detroit.
sounds like it might be the Detroit land bank.
Okay,
So we
okay.
do acquire the properties from the Wayne County land bank. Detroit properties don't stay in Wayne County land bank for too long before it's sent over to the Detroit land bank.
Okay.
So if it's a Detroit land bank, yes, that's what qualifies. But I can get your information and
That'll be
double check.
good. That'll be good. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Officer, you at work? We ain't asking no questions. I'm joking. I'm joking.
She said, I live in the city too.
I do. Thank you for coming in and answering the questions. I live on a county road. The tree that's in front of my house is at the berm, and it's dead, falling. Do you all service that or no?
Unfortunately, no. Are you on Outer Drive?
I am.
So, they are trimming and removing trees on Outer Drive. I'm just hoping that they haven't got down to you yet, because it's been a kind of a slower process. But they are removing and trimming trees on Outer Drive. You're welcome.
Have one over here.
I'm going to ask the question, but I want to acknowledge these officers. Thank you all for all you do. It's greatly appreciated.
I agree.
Now, I asked this question before, but I didn't get a straight answer. Okay. So I want to know, don't want me to hold your hand? Okay.
No, I can hold it closer to you.
If a resident plant a tree on city property and the tree roots are uprooting over the grounds and the sidewalk, do you all come and take responsibility for take the tree down, or is it the homeowner if it's any damage to other properties around there?
If it's on the city's property, we'll take it down.
Okay. Because if it does any damage, who's responsible? Is it the city or the resident?
So I can't answer that question. I guess it would depend on damage to where the tree is located. If you're talking about the sidewalk, the public sidewalk, the right-of-way sidewalk, then that definitely would be the city's responsibility.
Okay.
Got one here.
Hi. I'm one of the first persons that actually put in my request for them to check the tree in the front yard. Actually, I did it online, and just to have anyone to come out and you say they would send you something, say they're coming out for an appointment. I never received anything to come out.
They'll contact you first to schedule the survey.
So is it that they're behind, that they just haven't got to me? Because I put mine in when I first heard about, the damaged trees.
I could definitely check. Take
Okay.
your information and I can check.
Okay. Well, I have one other question. It's not going to be long. A lot of the question has been asked is the question that has my concern, and it's regarding the next door neighbor tree. It's like the trees have fallen into the yard, and I don't know what is grass or trees, and and everything is falling over on my property. I have a fence, and I was told that they could ticket the person. That can you request that the next door neighbor, they come out and view the next door neighbor. Now, I don't know about this house. I've heard that this person that stays in the house doesn't own the house, so I don't know whether it's a land, whatever house it is. So I don't know. I'm tired of those things hanging over my fence. One tree limb have fallen on my garage. I can't even get in their yard to get that limb off of my garage. So I need some assistance, somebody to tell me what I need to do.
Yes, I can definitely relate to the neighbor's tree. I think we had someone else with neighbor's tree. I don't have a tree in my yard. I live in the city, and I have the most leaves every fall, and I get the most branches during storms. I have a neighbor that has like 3 trees all clustered together, and I've personally paid to have it trimmed once. Need to do it again, but I'm like, do I really want to? But I need to do it again. But as far as them being ticketed, that would be a buildings and safety question. I can get you the contact number for over there. I'm not for sure what the ticketing process is like or how the ordinance will address the ticket in that instance. If you want, I can take your information and we could look at the property next door to see the ownership. Because if it's a land bank property, we definitely can take care of that as well.
Got one over here.
A couple questions. So when you put in the application, will your application be processed before the cutoff? So everybody that put in the application 9 times out of 10 will be serviced, or not say serviced, but someone will come out and appraise their property to see if they qualify?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And there's
all the 7,500 who have submitted applications we will come out and inspect and survey the tree.
Okay. And then, so could it be like 1 tree or 2 trees? What if one needs trimming and the other one is diseased because there's nothing growing on the tree?
It could be multiple trees. You're not limited to just one.
Okay.
Excuse me. I remember bringing this issue up maybe like 5 months ago. Excuse me, it's close. And when I brought up the issue, my neighbor also brought up the issue because my tree hangs over into his yard. They came out and assessed my tree, but I never heard anything else from them.
Okay, so you did get the survey. They did come out. You applied for the program?
I believe my neighbor,
Okay.
since the tree was hazardous to his garage and his driveway, he brought up the issue.
I can check the status.
Okay.
Again, if you didn't leave us an email address, right now we've already sent out the status update to those we have email addresses for. But for those we don't have email addresses for, we're sending out a postcard to give you a status update.
How can you find out the status? You have a website?
We're working on that.
You don't have one posted yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Any additional questions? Got one last one here.
Hi. I didn't know anything about this program. but this is a picture of the last tree that fell over into my yard from my neighbor's yard. It's happened like 4 times, and this last one was the worst because it took out my electricity and my cable, and this time when it came, it sent a surge through my house. And the TV was messed up, the computer was messed up, the 2 lights in the kitchen won't come back on, and the light in my bedroom won't come back on. DTE told me to get an electrician. I had 2 electricians that can't seem to figure out what's going on. Is it too late to get into the program, or?
Tell the truth.
Yes, unfortunately, the application process is closed.
How did it go around? I never heard about it, so. Deadly and dangerous? Oh, okay. Okay.
It sounds like the tree's already fallen.
It sounds like the tree has already fallen.
Now we're looking at, now we're looking at.
I've had them cut down, and you can see all the stuff back there from the man cutting it down. He left it in the backyard.
So the tree is down and it's cut up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the only work I was able to get fixed, I had to buy another TV, and the 2 lights in the kitchen got to be fixed, and then the light in my bedroom got to be fixed. That's just too much money. And it looks like, another one is on its way out. She had just, and she's a renter, she don't care.
So I guess I need to understand, is your ask for assistance with the electrical piece at your house?
I'm asking for assistance with the next branch or tree that's about to come down.
It's another tree in the yard.
Another tree in her yard that comes fall in my yard.
So 1 tree has already fell. There's
4 trees have already fell.
4 trees have already
And then
fallen.
another
Someone
tree
has
that
already cut the trees up, but not removed the trees.
Right.
And it looks like a 5th tree.
Oh, it's going. It's coming.
Could possibly.
Yes.
Okay, I'll take your information. I'll have someone go out and inspect it.
Okay, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm D1 round of applause and a thank you. She's been here the whole meeting, y'all. The whole meeting, and her segment was at the end. So thank you so much, Director, for being here and did not run away from any question. We appreciate you so much.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Have a good day.
Thank you. All right, so we are now about to go into hot topics. Hot topics. But the first hot topic we want to mention, we don't have a image on the screen. We can put up the hot topics. Some of you may have seen a member of our team who you haven't seen before. It's a young lady who joined us a couple of months ago. She's interning. Heart's going like pumping real fast now. Her name is Jillian Kowalchuk. No, she's not going to go over there. Come on over. Come on over. She's our intern. She is a MSU student. She's a sophomore. MSU, the Innovate Government Program. She's being housed currently right now at Wayne State University, my alma mater. We want to give her a couple of minutes to say a couple of words to the residents of the city of Detroit. And she was not prepared for this, but this is how we grade our interns. Let's see what you got for us. So tell us a little bit about your internship. What's the good, bad, and ugly thus far?
Okay, so I'm a political science student at Michigan State. I'm going to be a senior this year.
Oh, I'm sorry, junior. I messed that up.
Well, next year I'll be a senior. But it's been a great experience to get to see government in action and get to go to the city council meetings and then also come to the community meetings like this, get to interact with people in the district, get to see what's going on, what you guys are concerned about. And yeah, it's been a really good experience so far.
Yeah. So her last day is August 10th, and we're going to miss her tremendously. She's done a great job. Everything that we've offered and provided her, she's done at a high level. So y'all, please, I only have 2 hands. Please give her a round of applause for us for joining us and all the great work that you've done in the office. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Does she pass? All right, we'll give her A. All right, so hot topics. As we talked about, we're still having air quality issues, not just in the city of Detroit, but around this country. Remember a couple of weeks ago, you walked outside, you can taste the stuff, you can see it, you can feel it. It's not that bad today. It hasn't been that bad for quite some time, but we don't know what the future's going to hold. But we do have, do we have the website where folks can log on to and see where the air quality? It's an app too? Okay, hold on. We want to give you all the information. Information we have. Yep, I know.
Air Now.
What is it?
Air Now.
Air Now.
Mm-hmm.
And what can you? How did you download Air Now?
I went to my Play Store and put in Air Now. It was broadcast on television, and I did it. And I can check the air quality at any time.
All right. So today I'm looking at your app, and it says we're at 62. And if you look on here, the meter goes all the way to 500. This is 100. This is where we are today. So we are in the moderate area. But so if you're someone who has, lung issues and certain respiratory challenges, this still may be a little bit more challenging than those of us who may not have those same issues. So stay in your home. It also gives you a bit of information about how to remain safer in this environment, because at the end of the day, it's in our air. So it's going to be a little challenging for us to avoid it, but it gives us tips on how to be safer in this environment. We don't know yet. They still haven't determined when these wildfires are going to be out. They're still burning. Been some time now, months. So we just pray. Yep, if you go online, airnow.gov, airnow as in AIR, now.gov. I can spell. All right, next. All right, we got a number of events coming up. Many of you know about Arise Detroit Day, Neighborhoods Day. In the past, we had stuff going all across the city. It's dwindled just a little bit, but certainly in District 1, we make sure that we participate in Neighborhoods Day, AKA Arise Detroit Day, because it is a time for us to celebrate ourselves. And it will take place Saturday, August 5th, coming up next week, 2 weeks from now. August 5th, 2023, the 17th annual Arise Detroit Neighborhoods Day. How many of you participated in a Neighborhoods Day event? Cleanups, all types of things, mentoring. All right, so coming up, August 5th. Next. AriseDetroit.org is where you can go for a list of locations and activities taking place on that day. Next up, we got another one here. How many of you, a lot of folks in the urban farming, urban gardens? Okay, I see some hands going up. There's a phenomenal urban garden, in District 1, Griffin Gardens. A young lady by the name of Marilyn Griffin, she purchased the property from the land bank and just renovated it right next to her childhood home. She had moved away, came back, and it is a beautiful location. I see you shaking your head. You've seen it. Give you another opportunity to come and take a look at it and participate. She's got some art going on. I think I'm going to take a look at it tomorrow myself. But on July 22nd, she's got something going on tomorrow, but today, a little bit later, she has a number of events taking place, a pop-up market. It is located, what's that address? 19400 Bentler Street. Again, 19400 Bentler, and that is at the corner of Bentler and Vassar. Please take a look. If you want to, go online, type in Griffin Gardens. Again, the young lady's name is Marilyn Griffin. You will be surprised, shocked, elated as well about what we have here in our district. Next. Another one, so Tuesday, City Council approved a fueling ordinance. As we know, we see these little ATVs, all-terrain vehicles just driving around on the streets. It's hard to avoid them because they're about this tall, don't have lights, and you can't see them. They're lower than your vehicle. There have been situations where there have been accidents, near misses, and unfortunately some fatalities as well as a result of this illegal activity. In an effort to curb this activity, the police department came to the city council and requested an ordinance that prevented or prohibited the direct fueling of the gas into the actual ATVs. So this is temporary. It's a pilot ordinance at this moment. Police department indicated that they're going to come back after the summer to see if it was effective. If so, they're going to request from city council a permanent a permanent ban, if you will, on the direct fueling of these ATVs in the city of Detroit. All council members were not in support. There were council members that did support it, and it was approved. A long story short, it is in effect. And so I need you all to kind of give me, as we approach the end of the summer, tell us what you see. I know what I see with my eyes. We don't know exactly what the metrics are that the police department is determining to be success, but I want to hear from you. You now see that this ordinance is going into effect, is in effect right now. It's right now. So there's going to be signage. You're going to see the signage at the gas stations, where the gas stations are, again, prohibited from allowing direct fueling into these ATVs. Hopefully, this will reduce the number of ATVs on the street. I'm hopeful that we don't see confrontations either with these gas station attendants and these individuals. So that's just my personal commentary. It shows you what side of this thing I was on. I still want these ATVs off the street, but we also have to be wise about how we do this. I'll be available for you for questions afterwards. This is a quick hit, hot topics. Next topic, please. All right, Eliza Howell. Many of you know, yeah, you like that one. I like that one too. We fought hard for this. Eliza Howell is going under a renovation. If you look around, many of you, if you've driven around Eliza Howell, it's real hard to navigate the road surface there. It feels like you're on hydraulics when you're driving. So part of the issue is that we have stormwater retention challenges over there. They had just repaved it a number of years ago, but part of the issue is that water seeps underneath the cement, bubbles up, and destroys the roadway. Now people who are trying to avoid the roadway ride on the grass. So what happens to the grass? It gets ruined too. That is now going, we're doing a renovation over at Eliza Howell Park that will be shut down for some time, but is open right now. We're looking to have additional updates as to when the actual dates of closure, whether that be lanes or full closure of the park, take place, and we will definitely let you know, but we wanted to give you a heads up. If you go to Eliza Howell this year, this summer, it very well may be closed temporarily as we work to address the issue of the road, the infrastructure with the water retention, as well as some of those other challenges that we have at Eliza Howell. Next topic. All right, Rogel. That's another park that we're looking to revision. So Rogel, for many years, served as a golf course in the city of Detroit, as we know. I won't go through the whole history. We had a couple of presentations about that in the past. Long story short, we're looking to redevelop it into a park. Now, we are awaiting testing results from the state of Michigan to determine if, in fact, the soil will allow us to do all those things that we want to do. So we're still in waiting mode at this moment. We have had community meetings leading up to this point, but I will say this, and again, as the representative, the legislative representative for District 1, I want to make sure that what you want to see and what we talk about with you is implemented in whatever plan that we put forward with Rogel Park. So I know a lot of times when the city comes before the community and say, you know, we want to do something different, and they bring you a couple of options, there's a lot of people who say, well, they already know what they're going to do anyway, so why do I even need to take part in it? I will promise you right now, today, as the person who sits in the room, we don't know just yet what we want to do. We have some suggestions. We really want to turn it into a park. When you look along 7 Mile, there is the possibility, the option, and also the desire for retail along 7 Mile. 7 Mile only. But we're looking at doing a complete revival, if you will, of Rogel Park. Will no longer be a golf course, but into an actual park with nature trails and all those beautiful amenities that we want in our community, because there's a lot of land over there. But we'll keep you updated on the next time the meetings take place so you can participate in and give your feedback. Next. Cadillac School. How many of you are familiar with Cadillac Elementary School, the former Cadillac? Okay, so yeah. If you look at it, it's off of Schoolcraft, not terribly far from Greenfield. So if you look at that big hulking school over there between and 96, between Schoolcraft and Greenfield as you're going towards 96. Huge school, been open to trespass, and I've talked to a number of teachers who actually taught over there. and they are very, very sad about the condition of the school at this point. The good news, so that's all the bad stuff. The good news, the City of Detroit City Council just approved the contract to demolish this building, to allow for additional development, but more than that, to remove this blight that has been bringing down that neighborhood for years. Some of you remember Wesley Berry, the flower shop? Yeah, neighborhood florist, that's it. Wesley Berry had their very last location about a block away, not even that, from this school. And as a result of it being in this condition, it literally decimated so much life and vitality in the neighborhood. We're prayerful that following this demolition that we will see more life and vitality springing up. But that is a wish, that is a desire, and that is our goal. But what we do know is we're taking this building down and bringing something different to the neighborhood than what we see currently today. Next up. Oh, is us. So if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, please feel free to give us a call. This is the email, Councilmember Tate at DetroitMI.gov. Phone number, I know about heart, 313-224-1027. But also you can take a look at our social media, like it, follow it. Very important for those who may be watching online, and we say this to everyone, we do have these hybrid meetings and we want you to participate. There's a lot of meetings that are taking place in District 1 and we want your voice to be a part of it. If you don't get our alerts, please send us your email so we can send out all the information that we have through a system called gov.delivery. Makes it real easy. I know we send out a lot. For those of you who are on the system, we send out a lot of information. Those things that pertain to your life and you want to participate in, come on down and join us. Those things that don't necessarily interest you, please just pass it on to a neighbor because it may not interest you, but it may benefit someone who lives in your neighborhood, okay? All right, with that being said, I won't be able to take any questions, but I will be available afterwards. We're now going to have announcements. Karen, join us, please. Anyone who has announcements, want to provide announcements, let folks know what else is going on in the community outside of the stuff that we announced here today. I personally want to thank you for being here. Please don't rush out because every announcement that's coming forward is important. Thank you again for your presence and your patience. Karen Williams.
Thank you. Thank you again. Team Tate wants to thank everyone for coming out. How you guys like our t-shirts? It's a little teaser. These will be made available at a later date. Request your size. Like us, love us, dress like us. But now's the time in our meeting where we ask people to come up if you have something going on in your community that you think we need to know about or you want to just share with us. Please come up and give us a brief what's going on.
Hi, I'm Mike Van Tool, Legislative Aide for Wayne County Commissioner Monique Baker McCormick. I heard there was a question on Wayne County trees overhang on Wayne County roads. I can help you with that, so before I leave, I can give you my number and I can get that settled for you. Commissioner McCormick had 3 important events coming up soon, and she wanted to share with you this morning. For once in a very long time, Wayne County is holding budget hearings here in the district, District 6, which is on the far west side of Detroit in Redford. It's going to be Monday, August 14th at the 8th Precinct Auditorium, and it's an all-day hearing with Wayne County from 10 to 3. Then the commissioner is hosting a Veterans Award program. It's going to be at the John Dingell Veterans Hospital on John R., September the 7th. And then finally, the commissioner is hosting Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel Thursday, September 28th at Greater Grace. And the Attorney General is going to be talking about senior scams and resources and exposing those scams. So for seniors, this will be a great opportunity to come out and find out about the senior scams at Greater Grace on Thursday, September 28th. Again, my name is Mike Van Tool. Thank you so much. Thank you, Councilman Tate. We're, yes, the hardest working, most visible city council member. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. And he actually has some flyers to hand out, so if you're interested in going to one of the events, please collect one of his flyers.
Okay, I just want to announce that Prairie St. Mary's is starting back with our Parade and Fun Day, and it will be August the 5th from 10 o'clock until 5 o'clock. Come and join our parade and fun. Thank you. Oh, it's at Kelly Park on Puritan near Lindsay.
Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lisa Jones. I'm here with dual roles and responsibilities. First, I stand before you today as a CEO of Detroit Public Schools Community District. What that is a community engagement leader. I come with information that's going on in the district. I also take information that you guys may have, issues that you may not be able to get resolved. Don't beat me up. I may not have the answer at the time, but I will do my hardest to get the questions answered. It may not come from my department, my 9 to 5, which is I work for Assistant Superintendent Shalonda Buckman with the Office of Family Community Engagement. Right now, we're running Summer on the Block. I do have some flyers on the back table. I know a lot of our districts aren't offering summer schools right now, so we did offer kindergarten boot camp, Let's Read. Summer on the Block, you can go and do various activities. They give out activities, bridge books to help bridge the gap for the learning loss. It goes all the way from pre-K to high school. We also have, that comes out of my department, a Parent Academy. The Parent Academy comes out every quarter. These is different workshops and courses that we offer to our parents in the district free of charge. We just hosted our parent conference in March. That's what's on the front of the flyer, where we rented out the Marriott, served parents breakfast and lunch, played it, had different speakers come in from all over, and just loved on our parents and gave them the resources to be better. And we also try to bridge the gap within the community. Just wanted to come before you just to let you know, you may not have seen my face. I have been online a lot, but I will start attending these meetings more often, so you will know that I am in the community. We also go to different various events. We're at the Easter Market every Sunday, so if you're at the Easter Market, you can always stop by our table, get any information, little goodies that we have. We'll be there tomorrow from 10 to 4:30. I only work from 10 to 1. So after that, you won't see me, but you will see my colleagues. We're there to just answer any questions, give you any resources that we have. And with that being said, thank you. You guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Carol Jenkins, and I am a student, senior from Kroll Recreation Center, and they have a senior program for computers for any senior that's interested, 60 and up, and our oldest student is 95. So if you're interested in learning about the computers, we have a wonderful instructor by the name of Mr. Smith, and our classes are held on Mondays and Wednesdays from 1 o'clock to 3. And that's all types of computers, starting from your cell phone. They are very, very helpful. This is going into our 4th quarter, and you will learn a lot. They're very patient with you, and they also have a one-on-one session. All of this is free, and all you have to do is become a member of the Kroll Recreation Center. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a neighborhood police officer, Precious Reed, from the Detroit Police Department 8th Precinct. We also we have an event that's August the 1st called National Night Out. It's an event that we put on for the community. You can bring your whole family all over the nation, with the exception of Texas and Arizona because it's too hot. But all the police departments are putting on this event. It's going to be all sorts of activities. We're going to have vendors. We have live music. We're going to ask you that you bring your family out. It's, like I said, it's August 1st 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Peterson Park that's located on Greenfield between Curtis and Pickford on the back end. So please come out, bring your families. It's a fun time for everyone to enjoy us as the police bridging the gap with the community. Thank you. You all have a great day.
Thank everyone so much. We want to thank everyone again for coming out to our District 1 meeting. Just as a reminder, we are going on recess on Wednesday, so we will not be having any satellite hours or District 1 meetings in the month of August. We will resume in September. Also, there are some muffins and some juice still back there. Please grab them, take them with you. But once again, we just want to say thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thank you for coming out and hanging out with us.